2 days passed, and just as he was preparing to travel to the Black Turtle territory, all of a sudden, Tang Lianxin came to see him. Elder brother, the headmaster has sent a summons. He wants us to go on a trip to the main hall. Su Xing nodded. Subsequently, he and Tang Lianxin made for the Four Styles School's main hall. Along the way, Su Xing asked her for what matter the headmaster was seeking him. As the Four Styles School's most pampered great disciple and star master, Su Xing already possessed the sex prerogative. Normally, no one would meddle with what he did inside the school. If Su Xing was missing something, he need only mention it. Tang Lianxin shook her head, also unaware. Main hall. Paying respects to headmaster, masters and all senior teachers. Su Xing cupped his fist. Suddenly he was astonished. Sitting on the seat beside the headmaster was an absolutely beautiful young lady dressed in purple. Her brows were like smoke, and she watched Su Xing's arrival with a seeming smile. Ling Yan Princess Zhao Hanyan. Su Xing had never anticipated that he would encounter her here. Your Highness Princess, this is Su Xing, the headmaster said, making Su Xing sit on his other side. Many thanks to headmaster. Can Hanyan take him now? Zhao Hanyan's gentle appearance made Su Xing feel that he had seen the wrong person. Of course you can. Su Xing, the Ling Yan princess' birthday was several days ago. This time, she has something to ask of you. You must properly receive her. Zhu Yueka kindly said. Birthday. Su Xing's heart pounded, and he suddenly recalled the promise he made to Zhao Hanyan inside Evil Smiting Hall. Because the matter of Buddha Kingdom was too complicated, he had completely forgotten this matter. However, he was still somewhat perplexed as to how Zhao Hanyan found him here. Zhao Hanyan's expression seemingly smiled yet did not. Disciple has some matters that he fears. Su Xing felt that he had best first lay low for now. What matter could be more important than this princess' personal invitation? Zhao Hanyan's smile appeared simply angelic to an outsider's perspective. Each and every single one of those sect elders and hall masters were captivated. Nevertheless, Su Xing could discern the demonic displeasure within. And Su Xing, do not decline. Zhu Yueka said, clearly also not wishing to offend the great Liang dynasty. Su Xing could only begrudgingly comply. Su Xing, come with this princess. Zhao Hanyan gracefully left the hall. And their flying swords skyrocketed, and very quickly, they left the range of the Four Styles School. Zhao Hanyan, how did you find me? Su Xing's riding sword flew alongside her as he asked. Humph. Zhao Hanyan flung her head away, not minding him as if she was a spoiled child. Did you forget the intertwined sword you have with Princess? With this, how is finding you strange? Steadfast Star Dong Junqing emerged, her tone disdainful as she stared at Su Xing. Su Xing understood. Junqing, do not mind this untrustworthy man. Zhao Hanyan coldly said. Su Xing perspired. As expected, she was angry. The steadfast star harumphed, ruthlessly glaring at Su Xing. Then, she entered the star nest again. Flying for a while, from beginning to end Zhao Hanyan did not speak at all, seething, somewhat like a daughter. When Su Xing saw the renowned Ling Yan princess daughter-like appearance, he actually felt this was quite cute, and he laughed. What are you laughing at? Zhao Hanyan glared. Your angry face is rather cute. Su Xing said truthfully. You unfaithful traitor. Zhao Hanyan's anger flourished. The 72 outer void flying immortals' swords flew out. Just as she was about to attack Su Xing, the intertwined branch sword suddenly activated, and heart groaned in pain. Bastard. Zhao Hanyan cursed, very unladylike. Alright, sorry. It was because I had some matters to attend to that I really couldn't break free of. Su Xing was not fond of going back on his word, but what had happened in the Buddha Kingdom honestly could not have been avoided. Earnestly and sincerely he apologized. Your husband has but experienced 9 deaths and is still alive. Su Xing saying this made Zhao Hanyan's anger immediately quell, as expected. Seeing the concern in her eyes was not feigned, Su Xing's heart actually was somewhat warm. Humph, are you thinking of swindling this princess? Zhao Hanyan's tone sunk. I can't help it if you don't believe me, Hanyan. You've known me for so long, when have you ever seen me smooth and steady? Zhao Hanyan looked pensive. The purple thunder monster had always been fond of provoking right and wrong. He had turned both the Azure Dragon territory and Vermilion Bird territory upside down anyways. Seeing Su Xing's wholehearted sincerity, Zhao Hanyan's tone also softened. This princess' first invitation. You unexpectedly made this princess look unsightly. To Su Xing, what do you say we do? We're already husband and wife, just don't fuss over the minor things. I have never fussed over that preference of yours. Su Xing shook his head. Zhao Hanyan's face turned red and she spat. Bastard. Conversing with this guy would always make her go mad. Obviously, he had previously missed his appointment, yet she now had wronged herself. Just where are we going now? Su Xing asked her. I've still got things to do. What does being together with this princess so unbearable to you? The Ling princess was in quite the bad mood. At her birthday banquet, each and every one of those princes, dukes and marquis fawned over her, wishing to speak a little longer with her. Others could not do so even if they requested. Though he was good, even when he was so close to one in a position of power, he unexpectedly gave that up. How could this princess have initiated the 1,000-year intertwines with such a man that did not love her? Truly, he makes this princess angered to death. Su Xing indeed was very pressed for time. Lin Mei and the other beauties were rushing about constantly on the outside. How could he have the leisure to engage in sentiments? His flying sword stopped and he earnestly said, Hanyan, if you don't have anything, can I actually go? You. Zhao Hanyan originally wanted to curse him, but seeing that Su Xing's expression was not seemingly joking, she wrinkled her brows and said, You have made this princess appear unsightly. Could it be that helping this princess do some things is out of the question? What things? How long will it take? Su Xing asked. Zhao Hanyan's expression said, Are you in a rush to go reincarnate? Princess Highness wishes for you to go see a certain Lingdong Countess Yi Lingxi. 3 Dong Junqing emerged again. Seeing Zhao Hanyan and Su Xing like this, she spoke. Lingdong Countess Yi Lingxi? She is the daughter of Prince Xinwu. Oh. What would you have me do? I haven't collaborated with her. Su Xing expressed innocence. Zhao Hanyan coldly grinned. Whether you can collaborate with the lady, this princess has no opinion. Things were like this. This Prince Xinwu was one of the 3 great princes that originally helped Emperor Liang establish the Great Liang dynasty. The two were close friends, but the Lingdong Countess and Zhao Hanyan nevertheless did not get along at all. Zhao Hanyan's birthday banquet, according to Great Liang custom, was to allow the Ling princess to select a husband. In short, the Lingdong Countess probably mocked Zhao Hanyan for something. And then Zhao Hanyan did not keep her cool, and somehow mentioned Su Xing. This actually was not much. Originally, Su Xing had wanted to come, and Zhao Hanyan had naturally spoken to Emperor Liang beforehand. In any case, Zhao Hanyan did not know what she was thinking and spoke of Su Xing with extravagant embellishments, even talking big that the Lingdong Countess was not to fancy him upon seeing him, and so on. Su Xing was speechless. How can you blame this on this princess? That woman is honestly loathsome. Zhao Hanyan was red-faced. So you sold out your lord husband like this? Are you blaming this princess? You yourself surprisingly missed this princess' birthday banquet. Do you know how embarrassing this princess appeared at that moment, do you? Zhao Hanyan said furiously. Suddenly sensing an incorrect address, she hurriedly said, What lord husband? You unexpectedly dare take advantage of this princess. Su Xing could imagine how embarrassed Zhao Hanyan would have appeared at that time, and his heart softened. Then could it be that we are seeking her out now just to show me off? Su Xing felt this Zhao Hanyan was too childish. Dong Junqing gave Su Xing a very rare look of agreement. No, this princess wants you to seduce her. Zhao Hanyan's words were earth-shattering. Su Xing was wildly dizzy. You're treating me as a Casanova. How could there be a wife like you? Since you can have that many star generals following you, what does this count as? Zhao Hanyan snorted, a little bit of jealousy in her words. These are 2 different things. Even if I were to seduce her, I'd have to do it slowly. How can anyone do such a thing at first sight? Su Xing shook his head. Zhao Hanyan said, You are a beast, sure enough. No matter, use as much time as you need. In short, You must help this princess take back this disgrace. Otherwise, this princess will take you down with her. I'm about to faint. She had even spoke of dying together in the name of love. Su Xing truly was defeated. Muttering to himself, Su Xing suddenly recalled something. Han Yan, wouldn't it be better to compromise? How about it? Do you have a plan? Zhao Hanyan and Dong Junqing both were taken aback. Zhao Hanyan uttered those words of anger, and was somewhat vexed. She did not plan that Su Xing could do something, but hearing Su Xing apparently actually had some means, the Ling Yan princess was immediately curious. First, you tell me the matters of her family, then I'll do some thinking. Su Xing was not too certain. And their flying swords were en route, and Zhao Hanyan told Su Xing about Lingdong Countess Yi Lingxi's personality and livelihood. Because they had known each other since they were small, she could be counted as very understanding. Hearing that Yi Lingxi's personality was somewhat proud, Su Xing's eyes lit up. Perhaps I have a way. What way? How about I have her and her mother voluntarily kiss me? Su Xing said. Huh. These words made Zhao Hanyan dumb as a wooden chicken. She felt that she may have misheard. To make Yi Lingxi kiss of her own volition inherently was not too possible. Yet Su Xing unexpectedly had designs on Yi Lingxi's mother. He had to know that Madame Yi was but a cold and unreasonable person. In short, can I or can't I? Su Xing said. You will get exactly what you look for, but are you mocking this princess' happiness? Zhao Hanyan was doubtful. To be frank, there must be some other arrangements as well. Let's make a bet. If I can do it, you'll send me a kiss. Su Xing said. Shameless. To be asked by you to do this sort of thing, Hanyan, don't you feel guilty? Su Xing spoke up righteously. Fine. If you can do it, but if you are unable to? Zhao Hanyan mockingly asked. Princess. Dong Junqing had a bad feeling. If I can't do it, then whatever punishment you see fit. She could not hurt him anyways. That is settled then. If you cannot accomplish it, then you will listen and obey this princess for one matter. Upon meeting Madame Yi for the first time, Su Xing only felt that the woman before his eyes exuded a mature charm from head to toe. Her stature was tall, and her plump chest and that beautiful countenance could very easily make a man's imagination run wild. Everything was fine except for one small defect, which was that sort of cold and destructive sense of beauty that evolved from within her. Are you the man that Hanyan fancies so much? The lady of the prince was taken aback. Watching Su Xing, she gently smiled, her expression very curious. Your servant is Su Xing, as you see. Su Xing presented his etiquette. You truly are very young. Madam Prince Six of faintly smiled. Madam also appears very young. A maid brought over black tea. Drinking a mouthful, Su Xing said to Zhao Hanyan. Zhao Hanyan, go see your confidant 7 Yi Lingxi. You may as well inform her that I await her inside the drawing room. Zhao Hanyan affirmed, her expression suspicious, not knowing what medicine Su Xing had shown off before she rose and followed the maid into the other room. The drawing room was very quickly left with 2 people. The Ling Yan princess has named your distinguished self Su Xing as her one and only best man. Madame Yi said. However, your distinguished self's figure was nevertheless absent from the banquet. Your servant was delayed because of an important matter. This time, your servant has come because he hears that Hanyan and the madam's daughter have a bet, so. Su Xing set down the teacup, speaking apologetically. The corner of Madame Prince's mouth flickered with charm yet also with disdain. I even heard Lingxi say that Zhao Hanyan could make Lingxi fall for you. Falling for me is impossible, making her kiss me is just about it. Su Xing said. To think of having a little girl kiss you, you truly are very self-confident? Madame Yi glanced at Su Xing. She was very proud of her daughter. If Madame does not mind, then I shall properly teach her a lesson. If Madame is willing to make a bet, Su Xing thoughtfully asked. I shall wait and see. Madame Prince's reply was neither fiery nor warm. Then that is very good. Su Xing smiled very craftily. When Yi Lingxi came to the drawing room, she caught sight of her mother talking cheerfully with a man for a long while now. This was the first time she had seen her mother smile so happily. Her heart warmed, and at the same time, she could not help but size up that man. That was a very youthful man. His appearance was out of the question, handsome beyond compare yet very clean. To describe him as warm was very apt, but any way she looked, that excessively frivolous face of his did not match too well with his steadfastness. This was that man Zhao Hanyan spoke of? Yi Lingxi's heart suddenly had a sort of disdainful and mocking laugh. She honestly was incapable of believing that the man in front of her had any qualifications to be able to have her fancy him. Forcibly suppressing her heart's disdain, Yi Lingxi mockingly said, "So you are the man that Lingyan Princess Zhao Hanyan spoke of? Hanyan showered praises upon you. But are you not merely mediocre? Yi Lingxi, do not be discourteous." Madame Fu chided her, showing Su Xing an apologetic face. Su Xing looked at Yi Lingxi. She was more icily arrogant than he had imagined, a pair of blue eyes like ice. Although she had concealed it very well, Su Xing could still discern the contempt inside her heart. This sort of contempt was a very good seasoning for defeat. Su Xing reviewed in his heart. Su Xing, have a nice chat with Yi Lingxi. I am very eager to witness our bet. Madame Yi indifferently said. Zhao Hanyan blinked when she heard these words, thinking in her heart, just what is Su Xing planning? Beautiful madam. Make ready your preparations. Su Xing's words were very suggestive. If it was any other person speaking like this to her mother, she long would have glowered at them with mutual aggression, but Yi Lingxi did not this time. She merely sneered, full of a sort of a rogue like you has designs on my mother, taunting. Laughing to himself, Su Xing looked at Yi Lingxi, from her face, to her swan-like neck down to her tall and straight twin peaks and further down to her slender jade legs. This kind of gaze made Yi Lingxi a bit uncomfortable. She was increasingly certain of the conjecture in her heart. The man before her basically was a ruffian without any sort of ability, capable only of sweet talk and cajolery. No wonder Zhao Hanyan would be tricked into confusion. Actually, his cultivation was very genius at supercluster stage, but she did not know whether his bones were that of a several hundred-year-old elder. Zhao Hanyan also wrinkled her brow. Su Xing's appearance honestly was too frivolous. Whatever you want to say it quickly. Afterwards, disappear immediately from my sight. I do not wish to waste time on a boring person. Yi Lingxi's tone was disdainful. Yi Lingxi. Even Zhao Hanyan felt that Yi Lingxi's words were a bit overboard. For the sake of waiting until you want to kiss me, never mind this time. In the future, remember that you must be a bit more courteous to others. Su Xing chuckled. Yi Lingxi's eyes widened. Me kiss you? She let out a disdainful jeer. Truly a laughable delusion. I heard that you are a genius, omniscient in Liangshan's knowledge. May I ask you several questions? Su Xing took out a piece of paper. No problem. The Lingdong Countess was considerably self-confident. Taking that piece of paper, upon it were questions that were very easy to the point of being somewhat ridiculous. Does he wish for her to show off her knowledge and wisdom? To other girls this indeed was a very powerful lure, but to this countess, this truly is boring. Another cup of tea, please. Su Xing signaled to the maid. He sat on the sofa, slowly sipping tea, slowly savoring it. His current manner in Zhao Hanyan's eyes was considerably calm and confident, as if he was completely unworried about the outcome. Time seemed to cease its flow. There was a bang. Regardless of whether or not you are putting on airs, disappear from my sight right now. Yi Lingxi gave her notice to leave. She already loathed this man. To surprisingly speak of having her kiss him? Dream on. Do you feel yourself a genius right now? Much of the knowledge on that is not something an ordinary person can figure out. You solve it. Su Xing leisurely said. Yi Lingxi's arrogant appearance was revealed, no doubt. Su Xing raised an exam paper. Do you feel this world has nothing you can learn? Do you feel I need to learn something? Yi Lingxi spoke very haughtily. Su Xing blossomed with a splendid smile. He ripped apart the white paper, and a flame appeared out of thin air, immediately burning the exam paper into ash. Then I shall teach your talent some knowledge that is impossible to possess. Zhao Hanyan and Yi Lingxi expressed surprise one after the other. Knowledge that is impossible to possess? You speak nonsense. What knowledge does Liangshan continent have that I do not know of? Yi Lingxi sneered. If you feel you have lost, then in the future treat people more courteously. Su Xing finally mentioned the subject. So long as you have the ability to make this countess do so. The Lingdong countess was disdainful. Will do. Su Xing said something to Zhao Hanyan, and the latter oddly walked outside. Yi Lingxi locked her brow, baffled. She followed Su Xing to the door. At this moment, Zhao Hanyan walked over and quietly said, Su Xing, the preparations are already finished. Just what are you thinking of doing? Quickly now, do not deceive me. The following test is very simple. I shall have Zhao Hanyan instruct the maid and butler to wait on call where they are. When the time comes, you will have them enter together. The maid and the butler will enter the room at the same time, and we will guess who will be the first to enter the room. That is all. Su Xing said. Yi Lingxi was taken aback, not coming back to her senses. What is the topic of this? If you feel yourself very bright, then speak. The maid and butler are your families. You ought to have a greater advantage over me. This topic is very fair. Su Xing smiled. However, I can tell you beforehand, regardless of how you attempt this topic, you will always fail. You bluff. What do you think the result would even be? Yi Lingxi scoffed. The butler shall be the first to enter. Then call them into the room yourself. Su Xing shrugged. The butler and maid did not understand, so they walked towards the room together. Yi Lingxi stared at each and every one of their moves. When she saw the maid behind the butler, her heart breathed a sigh of relief. She could not help but cast a mocking expression at Su Xing. Although the butler and maid entered the room together, he very clearly forgotten a fact. That was that a maid's status was far lower than that of a butler's. When the two advanced together, the maid would subconsciously place herself behind the butler. By doing so, there was no question that the butler would be first to enter. Sensing this fact, Zhao Hanyan tightly clenched her fists, praying to herself. However, the butler and the maid's pace did not change at all. When the distance to the threshold was less than half a meter, Zhao Hanyan thoroughly lost hope. Yi Lingxi very much wished to admire this frivolous man's angry expression. However, when what she saw was a nonchalant, tea-sipping countenance, her heart was very furious. Just at the instant the butler was about to be the first to step across the threshold, Su Xing moved the cup away from the corner of his mouth and suddenly said, Butler, your shoelace is loose. Ha! Having been suddenly given this reminder, the butler first paused. Then he promptly lowered his head to inspect his shoelaces. He immediately discovered that the boots he wore did not have shoelaces. In that instant he lowered his head. The maid behind the butler thus became the first to walk through the door. This surprise turnaround suddenly made the two girls dumbstruck. I do not have shoelaces. The butler deferentially said. The corner of Yi Lingxi's mouth twitched. How she wished to blow her top. Oh, I was mistaken. You are dismissed. Su Xing apologetically said. Oh. When the butler and maid saw the unsightly expression of their young lady, they were baffled, but they knew now was not the time for them to trouble her. When they left her line of sight, Yi Lingxi's fury immediately exploded. She roared. You cheat, how could you play such a trick? Did I say I couldn't? Su Xing innocently shrugged. Yi Lingxi was speechless. Indeed, he had only said to guess who would be first to enter, and he did not set a rule at all about not speaking. However, any way she thought about it, Yi Lingxi felt she had been played with. She indignantly said, If it was not for you speaking, then I would not have guessed wrongly at all. Now that you feel that what you have learned is not enough, have you started being tsundere? Su Xing coldly said, This is a dirty trick, I do not concede. Yi Lingxi ground her teeth. Fine, I will have you completely won over. Again, but this time, neither of us can say anything, how about it? No problem. Yi Lingxi was confident that if he had not spoken to delay the butler's pace, the victor right now would have been her. Su Xing calmly continued to drink tea amidst the chaos. This time, the butler and maid appeared to advance the same way as before, the maid still behind the butler. You cannot speak. Let me see how you will manage this. Yi Lingxi smirked in her heart. Su Xing raised the cup at Yi Lingxi with a slight smile upon his face. This sort of smile that was full of confidence made Yi Lingxi exceptionally angry. Why was this man so confident? Zhao Hanyan had been left very dumbfounded by Su Xing's actions. Asking Dong Junqing, the steadfast star also did not understand. Although using a bet to humiliate the other party was not a bad method, the problem was that you needed a certain chance of victory. Now it appeared that Su Xing's current way of doing things was somewhat baffling. She completely did not know what medicine he was selling inside his gourd. 8. Especially now, what should Su Xing do? Zhao Hanyan was very curious. Could it be he actually could make a reversal like this? Just at this moment, Su Xing smiled, and he made a movement that made the countess and princess dumbstruck again. Su Xing's hand loosened, and the cup fell to the floor. An unimaginable scene occurred. After the cup fell, the maid suddenly quickened her pace, her speed exceeding the butler's. She rushed into the room, hastily stooped down, and brought out a towel to dry the floor, promptly apologizing to Su Xing. Yilingxi was thoroughly stupefied. This man. Zhao Hanyan was speechless. Su Xing showed the maid a tender smile. The maid's face reddened, excusing herself after taking the cup. At this moment, Yilingxi finally regained her senses. She tightly bit her lip, very angry yet also extremely dejected. Su Xing indeed followed the rules and did not speak, but he deliberately dropped the cup onto the rug. By doing so, the maid's duty and instinct would urge her to rush over and clean up. Very naturally, she would enter ahead of the butler. Everything, he had completely exploited a person's psychology. Why you despicable, shameless cheat, from the very beginning. It was impossible for me to win. This test is not fair. Yilingxi very much wanted to curse him. She had never felt she would lose with a feeling so full of humiliation. Su Xing disdainfully evaluated her. The contents of today's class are that wisdom is everywhere, yet fairness will never exist. How does this count as wisdom? This is petty. Yilingxi did not accept this. To be able to make the you that is so full of wisdom taste defeat, you can still learn this sort of pettiness. Su Xing disagreed. Yilingxi was truly about to explode. Even if she was very adept at faking her mood, this time, she had no way to feign. Seeing her unreconciled appearance, Su Xing intentionally sighed, his tone slightly warm. I am only exploiting the person's psychological behavior, controlling the opposition's unconscious thoughts. I call it psychology, knowledge that this world does not have. Controlling unconscious thoughts? You were merely lucky this time. Yilingxi stubbornly refuted. You do not believe me? Do you believe that I can manipulate your mama into kissing me? Su Xing indolently said. Hey, does this man truly treat himself as a Casanova? Zhao Hanyan's expression cast out an admonishment. Yilingxi widened her eyes, loudly shouting. You are talking nonsense. On what basis would my mama kiss you? If you do not believe me, that is up to you, but I indeed had your maid enter the door first twice. On this you lose. Zhao Hanyan is a witness. Fine, we shall stop here. Su Xing already did not wish to tangle with her any further. To be frank, Zhao Hanyan until now did not understand just what tricks Su Xing had in store. She was unable to connect this topic with a kiss. Yilingxi had unwillingness written on her face. Su Xing wrinkled his brow, his tone a bit displeased. What could it be you actually want to make your mama kiss me that you do not believe me? Yilingxi's eyes immediately let out a frightening light. If you have the capabilities to do so, then I will believe you. How could any daughter incite someone to kiss her own mama? You are completely unable to do so. What psychology? I have never heard of it, swindler. Do not think you can bewitch this princess bastard. Yilingxi finally seized onto her chance. If you want me, I can do it. Su Xing looked at Yilingxi's red lips and chuckled. However, you nevertheless must pay the price. This world does not have such a happy thing where someone does something just because you make them. What would you have me do? Yilingxi was wary. Su Xing winked. A kiss. Shameless. Yilingxi suddenly recalled the kiss Su Xing mentioned at the very beginning, and her expression was all of a sudden more unsightly. Then you can obediently concede defeat. Su Xing rose, an indifferent attitude. Shameless, shameless, shameless. Shameless. Yilingxi cursed 100 times in her heart. This bastard basically had everything planned out. But to make her concede defeat like this, Yi Lingxi's heart honestly was not too willing. Even when she was facing Emperor Liang, Yi Lingxi could wriggle with some leeway, but tonight, her arrogance had been ruthlessly trampled. Yi Lingxi, forget it. Zhao Hanyan was slightly sympathetic to her. Fine. I shall treat it as having been bitten by a mosquito. Yi Lingxi grit her teeth, making her determination, and walking to Su Xing's front. To be kissed by a mosquito as beautiful as you. I am very happy. Su Xing could not help but smile. This man definitely is bluffing. Yi Lingxi was increasingly certain. She closed her eyes and stood on tiptoes. Su Xing actually was courteous, only making Yi Lingxi use her soft red lips kiss his cheek. The Zhao Hanyan to the side widened her eyes. Suddenly, she recalled something. It cannot be. Those two tricks just now were for the sake of this. The Ling Yan princess thoughts were bright, immediately recalling Su Xing's reason for everything. Just as Su Xing had said, to be able to make the other party fall in love or kiss him at first sight was a fantasy story. It was precisely because of this that Su Xing took a different route, walking along a means that no one had thought of. This was a bet. In a gambler's game, what could be more interesting than this? As far as the arrogant Yi Lingxi was concerned, when she agreed to Su Xing's two topics, she voluntarily had come to this. Humph, how honestly cunning of him, to unexpectedly little by little begin to have plans for her, the Lingdong Countess. However, Zhao Hanyan had one thing she still did not understand. How could he make Madame Yi kiss him? Thinking of this, Madame Prince would not be so frivolous. Her lips had not touched for more than a second when Yi Lingxi's kiss immediately ended. This instant, the girl's cheeks were a thorough red. She was slightly crying yet shed no tears. This was but her first kiss, to have unexpectedly sent it away so disgracefully. Go do it now. If you cannot do so, this countess will not let you go. Yi Lingxi hatefully said. Yi Lingxi, you brought this upon yourself, yet you still wish to threaten him? Zhao Hanyan sneered very bluntly. Su Xing twitched his lips. Madam, you can come out now. Lingxi. Madame Prince walked out from the room, incomparably shocked. She had seen everything just now. Mother. Yi Lingxi's ears burned. She stubbornly said. He is a shameless pervert that wants you to kiss him. You absolutely cannot be deceived by him. Lingxi, Mama was wrong in the past. You truly have much more to learn. Madame Prince sighed. You have been unconsciously controlled by him. Do you realize? Mother Highness, what are you saying? Yi Lingxi was at a loss. Madame Prince, will you comply with our promise? Su Xing chucked. The two girls smelled a hint of conspiracy. Madame Prince leisurely walked to Su Xing's side. Her stature was very tall, fully taller than Su Xing by a head. She whispered. You shameless pervert, I have never seen anyone more evil than you. No wonder the Ling Yan princess would hold you in such high regard. After she spoke, Madame Prince lowered her head and deep kissed Su Xing by the lips. The Madame Ye's kiss brought a much more mature and lovely flavor. Yi Lingxi and Zhao Hanyan were completely shocked by the scene in front of them. Su Xing felt his lips. This Madame Yi honestly was sexy, surprisingly kissing his lips. It seemed he still was too pure. Mother, what are you doing? Yi Lingxi screeched. She truly was almost mad. How could her dignified and cold mother unexpectedly actually deep kiss that bastard? Passing through the moistness of a kiss. The feeling of charm at the corner of Madame Ye's eyes was even more extreme. Mama made a bet with him. The course of events was this. While the two chatted in the lounge, Su Xing and Madame Yi made a bet. Su Xing said he would make Yi Lingxi personally kiss him. Of course, Madame Yi would not believe him. How could she not understand her own daughter's personality? Let alone this man, even when she stood before her father, the prince himself. Yi Lingxi never changed her face. Madame Yi was very doubtful her daughter's interests were very special. Subsequently, she very quickly accepted this bet. The bet was that you would kiss him. Yi Lingxi was in disbelief. Yi Lingxi, the Ling Yan princess man is certainly a dangerous character. Madame Yi pursed her lips, her eyes showing a bit of interest. Yi Lingxi grabbed a tea kettle and hurled it at Su Xing. You are a complete cheat. Bastard, bastard. Lingxi was not a fool. She immediately understood everything. She even thought of the hints in Su Xing's language that lured her into kissing him. It could be said that from the beginning of the moment she entered the room, she was already like a lamb that had fallen into a trap. What was laughable was that she still did not perceive it. Su Xing glanced at Zhao Hanyan. The Lingyan princess looked at the Lingdan countess' sunken heart with some sympathy. Madam Yi, Hanyan apologizes on behalf of Su Xing to little sister and the madam. Zhao Hanyan apologetically said, to be able to make Lingxi suffer a small lesson, it is worth the price. Madam Yi was very magnanimous. She gazed at Su Xing, her attitude not like that disdain from the beginning. The Lingyan princess' eyesight is indeed extraordinary. I wonder from which sect and master you hail from? Your servant is a disciple of Ju Yueka of the Four Styles School. Ju Yueka? That tool refining sect master. As expected, you are talented, young and promising. Zhao Hanyan has other matters and shall take her leave. Thus they left Prince Shenwu's mansion. Where did you learn that psychology thing? This princess has never heard of it. This princess is truly interested, for it to surprisingly be capable of trapping the Lingdong countess. Zhao Hanyan smiled. Zhao Hanyan, don't change the topic. Did you forget our bet? Su Xing was stern. Dong Junqing thoughtfully said, do you wish to take advantage of even the Lingyan princess? Forget it, just treat it as your birthday present then. Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan suddenly flew in front of Su Xing. Both of her arms boldly wrapped around Su Xing's neck, and her red lips stuck to his, wrapping her tongue around his as they exchanged saliva. Dong Junqing watched from the side with endless jealousy. The pair passionately deep-kissed and embraced. Originally, their hearts had been planted with the 1,000-year intertwined branches. This kiss was simply a first rain after a long drought, as if they were sucking away each other's energy. Zhao Hanyan suddenly moaned, lowered her head to look down, and her face turned completely red. She saw that her jacket was wide open. One of Su Xing's hands had surprisingly climbed onto her underwear, softly kneading her breasts. The girl was surprised and pushed Su Xing away. Her arms covered her chest, and her brows rose. Su Xing, you are so audacious. And what haven't I already seen of your body? Su Xing shook his head. These words made Zhao Hanyan want to silence him for good. No more kidding. If there is nothing else right now, then I should go. Su Xing said. Su Xing, you honestly do not give this princess a single bit of face. Zhao Hanyan harumphed. Where do you want to go? The Black Turtle territory. Perfect, let us go together. Zhao Hanyan nodded. Together. Su Xing did not understand why the Lingyan princess would be so interested in tangling herself with him. Could it be she truly fancied him? Do you not have the purple star outlaw Liangshan jade pendant? How many immortals' abodes have you opened? 1. Then good. The purple star jade pendant can open 3 immortals' abodes. Each one opened will possess a precious treasure. If this treasure is taken to the treasure feast, then the value will be priceless. However, the distances must be very far apart. This second immortal's abode will require going to the Black Turtle territory in order to be opened. We can just so happen go together. Zhao Hanyan's beautiful eyes glittered, and her beautiful smile curved. Su Xing's brows wrinkled. What, do you want to decline this princess' good intentions again? Zhao Hanyan's face suddenly paled. Liked it. Going together is exactly what I've been looking for. I just so happen to be not too clear on the Black Turtle territory. Su Xing smiled. Only then did Zhao Hanyan's expression warm up. However, this princess actually is not very clear either. Right, is that Lingdong countess a star master? Su Xing suddenly remembered this question. Since she liked competing against Zhao Hanyan, could it be she was a star master? She is not a star master. Zhao Hanyan pursed her lips. But perhaps her elder brother is. Seeing Su Xing was very interested, Zhao Hanyan said. Yi Lingxi's elder brother Yi Futu is also a very interesting person. What do you mean? He was a genius in the study of martial arts ever since he was little. Originally, his name was Yi Tianxi. 2. and he obtained Prince Shenwu's divine sword and other inheritances. Afterwards, he nearly died from his obsession with training. After he awoke, his cultivation had deteriorated into a cripple's. Thus he changed his name to Yifutu. Afterwards, this princess heard he was silent for a very long time. After the star duels began, rumor had it that he had possibly already signed a star duel covenant, because a star duel covenant can make anyone become a star cultivator. Yifutu perhaps wants to make a comeback. You had best be on guard about him. Zhao Hanyan faintly said. Su Xing nodded. In the case a person who had passed through life and death and fell from grace received an opportunity to change his fortunes, indeed they would be a frightening opponent. Do you know about his star general? Su Xing asked. Yifutu all along has not yet shown his face. This princess has only heard this from Yi Lingxi. Zhao Hanyan shook her head. Wrapping himself in mystery, It seems he should have some capital. Su Xing smiled. Hanyan, just how many more star masters does your great Liang dynasty have? Might as well just tell me. According to what this princess knows, there are only 4: myself, Zhao Heng, Prince Fengwu's Gong Kaiwei, Prince Shenwu's Yifutu. Originally, this princess' third brother was also, however, he was too inferior and has already lost the qualifications. There is another prince? Not all the princes would be willing to send their own daughters into the star duels. Zhao Hanyan harumphed. From the way you say it, Emperor Liang is actually very courageous. Su Xing praised. The eldest princess and second crown prince each participating in the star duels honestly was no small matter. Zhao Hanyan's expression mockingly looked at Su Xing, glancing at him from head to foot. Her eyes brightly glittered. That said, your cultivation actually progressed very quickly, unexpectedly already reaching supercluster stage? Did you have some happy encounter? Zhao Hanyan's brows rose. Thinking back to when she originally saw Su Xing, their cultivations were but separated by several levels. Now Su Xing had already nearly caught up to her. This truly was unbelievable. Contracting 8 star generals, Su Xing actually felt this cultivation still counted as slow. Hanyan, you surprisingly already reached the peak of supercluster middle stage, which is also rather formidable. Zhao Hanyan softly harumphed. To have her current cultivation with a prehistoric spirit treasure the likes of the purple smoke confusing sky lantern. Even if she had this, she was about to be overtaken by Su Xing. However, the Lingyan princess did not carefully delve into thinking about this too much. Now that the third phase was already about to conclude, according to the conventions of the previous star duels, after evil smiting hall passed, Star Masters' cultivations would all advance by leaps and bounds. Before the fourth phase commenced, next was the time for Star Masters to exhaust all possible means to advance their cultivations. Never mind, you seem to have so many star generals. You are an anomaly. This princess is disinclined to think about it. Su Xing said. Let's go to the Black Turtle territory right now. Time is already short. And oppressive footsteps resounded in the dark space. Great Saint Starkiller walked past the black corridor, his expression very grave. Great Blade Guaning followed behind him, her expression also very grim. Lining the passage, the dark purple torches lengthened the pair's shadows, appearing on the wall like demons bearing their fangs. It was as if every detail of the passageway was full of evil and insolence. The pair walked to a gate. The man guarding the gate coldly glanced at them. His cultivation had surprisingly reached Supervoid stage. The Grand Supervoid cultivator unexpectedly watching over the gate made the atmosphere appear even more heavy. The main hall was a space full of purple fire. Gorgeous scripts decorated the entire room from top to bottom. These scripts were arranged according to some sort of pattern. Several meter-wide black chains were very conspicuous, just like a pitch-black python extending straight to the very top of the main hall, to a platform sheltered by a black canopy. Upon closer inspection, one would notice that the giant chains currently trapped a figure. The wide chains made that figure appear somewhat stooped. 2 men and 2 women stood beneath the platform, each emitting an aura that would make one feel ice-cold to the bone, as if they would shudder with just a glance from them. These 4 had cultivations that were Supervoid middle stage and above. Devil Ancestor. 3 Great Saint Starkiller reverently said. To be able to have so many supervoid cultivators stand guard across all of the Black Turtle territory, there was only one capable of doing so, the Black Turtle territory's first devil. Reportedly, he already comprehended the peak of supervoid, the devil ancestor Black Underworld entering transforming Star of Annihilation. Guaning was expressionless. Star generals never showed more respect to anyone beside their own contractor, let alone that she was the brave star. Great Saint Starkiller, this ancestor wishes to speak to you alone. From behind the canopy came an aged voice. Great Saint Starkiller listened. He glanced at Guaning. Guaning snorted, her expression not at all happy. She turned around and left the main hall. In her heart, she actually did not wish to see the thing coming next that would make her feel ashamed. Fancy that the one who is the chief of the 5 tiger generals, the one with a 4-star destined weapon, would unexpectedly be slain. What are you doing still acting arrogant here? Truly you make people upset. The 4 supervoid cultivators coldly said. Great Saint Starkiller did not dare quibble. Only after she left did the devil ancestor Black Underworld say, "This ancestor hears you suffered defeat in Evil Smiting Hall." His voice was very soft, but the feeling within made Great Saint Starkiller have a sort of powerful pressure. Great Saint Starkiller broke into a cold sweat and lowered his head. "It was your servant's fault. Your servant did not anticipate the harm star would unexpectedly have a star master, and even reach the heaven-earth dark yellow realm." There was soft laughter, somewhat inquisitive. Great Saint Starkiller knelt on the ground, in fear and trepidation. "Your servant requests devil ancestor for atonement. Next time your servant encounters that man, your servant definitely will take revenge and wipe out this grudge. This ancestor has exhausted everything to nurture you, for the sake of allowing you to become the chief of the star duels. No one in Liangshan continent can contend with you, but you nevertheless were defeated, making this ancestor somewhat surprised. Could it be that this ancestor has treated you too unkindly? Is this what you believe? Great Saint Starkiller? Devil ancestor is kind. Your servant has undying gratitude. Even if your servant must work like an ox, work like a horse, your servant will repay devil ancestor endlessly." Great Saint Starkiller promptly made clear his mind. The Devil Star Palace has nurtured you for the purpose of obtaining the overlordship of these star duels. This is not a request. It is a requirement. From the beginning of the star duels, you must far surpass all other opponents. This is the dream of the Devil Star Palace, but you unexpectedly were killed out of Evil Smiting Hall by someone else. What else should this ancestor say? There absolutely will not be a next time. Your servant asks Devil Ancestor to be at ease. Great Saint Starkiller solemnly vowed. This ancestor does not need this kind of flower in a mirror, moon reflected in a lake roundabout promise. 5 Devil Ancestor Black Underworld's voice was serene as a dagger. Ming Dai. 6 Give that thing to him. As you command. A graceful woman bound in black nodded and daintily advanced. In her palm was a black stone, like a multitude of glittering stars, yet emitting a fiendish devil chi. Even with Great Saint Starkiller's current supercluster stage cultivation, he felt it was very unbearable. This is the 9 Nether Devil Star Stone. 7. Have your Star General forge it into her star weapon. Devil Ancestor Black Underworld said. 9 Nether Devil Star Stone. Great Saint Starkiller's pupils shrunk. The 9 Nether Devil Star Stone could be said to be the divine item of the Black Turtle Territory's devil cults. Weapons with the 9 Nether Devil Star Stone forged into them could render targets that were cut down in so much pain they would wish they were dead, suffering every possible torment. Afterwards, they would become supreme resentment, and the user could absorb this power and become even stronger. However, the 9 Nether Devil Star Stone at present was clearly different. If this was used to kill a star general, the more star generals the star weapon kills, the more powerful the star general's destined star weapon will become, even being able to be placed above an upgraded star weapon. Ming Dai explained. 8 Great Saint Starkiller was delighted. Was this not saying that in the future, when Guaning killed a star general, she could simultaneously upgrade her star weapon? This practically was super defiant of the natural order. Many thanks, Devil Ancestor. Suddenly, Great Saint Starkiller's expression was somewhat hesitant. But Guan Ying's personality is unyielding. Your servant does not know if she would use this Devil Star Stone. The 9 Nether Devil Star Stone would make the slain opponent suffer worldly pain. As far as the righteous and strict Brave Star was concerned, perhaps it was hard to accept. Ridiculous. How could the Grand Star Generals still be able to retain some benevolence? Ming Dai rebuked. If she does not dare abide, you just use command enforcement. By the time Guan Sheng tastes the power of the 9 Nether Devil Star Palace, she naturally will know that no one in this generation's star duels is her opponent. Hearing the woman's displeasure, Great Saint Starkiller hastily nodded in acknowledgement. Great Saint Starkiller, you are dismissed for now. Properly go prepare for the coming Black Nether Temple. 9. As you command, disciple takes his leave. After Great Saint Starkiller left, Ming Dai turned her head back saying, Devil Ancestor, although this brave star is the chief of the 5 Tiger Generals, that personality honestly does not possess the disposition for ruthlessness. As Ming Dai sees it, that Guaning is perhaps disloyal. Is this not even better? Seeing the renowned brave star raised into a killing tool for our devil sect, the Liangshan Maiden's expression must be very marvelous. Another man softly spoke. Enough. You all may also take your leave. This ancestor is tired. Devil Ancestor Black Underworld calmly said. By your will. Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan flew towards the limits of the sea together. This flight was non-stop for 7 days and 7 nights. Different from the Azure Dragon Territory's fertile lads, the Black Turtle Territory's greatest characteristic was the extreme number of bodies of water. Various kinds of islands stood in great numbers. Its topography was broken up by the seas and islands into an extreme mess. It was for this reason that the Absolutes in Liangshan Continent's powerful aquatic demon beasts dwelled in the Black Turtle Territory's deep seas. The Black Turtle Territory's ley lines were far from as prosperous as the Azure Dragon Territories. For this reason, cultivators here trained exploiting the blood, bone, and even the organs in demon pellet, 10 of demon beasts. Demon pellets and the like were very common in the Black Turtle Territory, and it was because of this that the Black Turtle Territory's devil cults were extremely prosperous. Passing by every sort of crisis on the limitless sea, Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan finally saw the outer sea of the Black Turtle Territory. Cross Island. 11. The island's entirety was shaped like a cross, thus it got its name. On the islands were scattered dozens of homes of island dwellers. This was the first checkpoint island for those of the Azure Dragon Territory entering the Black Turtle Territory. After entering these grounds, that cross island's topography pointed in the 4 directions, making clear the 4 directions that cultivators could thoroughly enter the Black Turtle Territory. Continuously flying a course of 7 days and 7 nights, Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan were extremely exhausted. They were in urgent need of replenishment of their spiritual powers. Cross Island just so happened to have a weak ley line. Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan glanced at each other, and then they descended towards the island with tacit understanding. Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan circled around the island. As a checkpoint, this place still had many cultivators constructing a marketplace for transactions. Generally speaking, this was an exchange for information and such. At last, following someone's introduction, Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan arrived at a hillside restaurant named the Peace and Happiness Inn. The Peace and Happiness Inn's restaurant had many cultivators entering and leaving. Having continuously flown for so long, Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan felt very tired. Entering, they sat at a table. Su Xing assessed the restaurant's interior. It was considerably clean, and many cultivators selected some food and wine to gorge themselves on, chatting spiritedly. Although the cultivators had already reached a realm of abstaining from food, the majority of cultivators still were incapable of escaping their hunger. Su Xing originally wanted to simply listen and gather whatever information he could. However, he found that what these cultivators discussed was relatively boring, with no juicy topics at all. Rumors of the star duels or the Black Turtle Territory were pitifully sparse. Yet after Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan stepped into the restaurant, the other cultivators cast considerably fearful glances at them. It was no wonder, for any way it was put, Two supercluster ancestors appearing was enough to make people feel they were confronting a powerful foe. But what was even more present in the eyes of these cultivators was envy. Su Xing did not mind. Are you two guests stopping for a meal, or staying the night? A live-bodied woman daintily walked over, her expression gazing at Su Xing with much allure, making Zhao Hanyan quite unhappy. Zhao Hanyan frowned. Is this a restaurant or a brothel? The woman retracted her charm and showed an unsightly expression. Choose some random wine and meat. While you are at it, book 2 rooms. Zhao Hanyan saw that the time of day was already very late, and she did not wish to hasten on their journey. Su Xing did not object. All right then, the arrangements will be made immediately. The woman's smile was somewhat charming, especially that slender waist that made men drool with desire. Are the women of the Black Turtle territory also formidable? Su Xing could not help but follow her with his gaze. Although the woman meticulously hid her cultivation, using seeing clearly, she actually was a surprising supercluster stage. Perhaps she has practiced some devil arts. Be on your guard. Zhao Hanyan warned. Thereupon she said, the Black Turtle territory's devil cults are myriad, especially with the over-exaggerated influence of the Devil Star Palace. You had best be careful not to expose your identity as a Star Master. Su Xing naturally understood. The Devil Star Palace was renowned as the Black Turtle territory's #1 Devil Palace. Under its wing was the Star Master, Great Saint Starkiller. If their identities as Star Masters were discovered, perhaps these devil cult disciples would be like a gangrenous maggot that allowed them no peace of mind. However, the Black Turtle territory's Black Turtle Sea has millions of islets, which are actually good places for cultivation. Zhao Hanyan said, what place should we choose for our immortals' abodes? Su Xing asked her. Zhao Hanyan already had plans. She thought for a moment. We have only just entered the Black Turtle territory just now. If we quicken our speed, we can arrive in 10 days. However, the prerequisite is that we cannot allow anyone to sense our attempt. Otherwise, we definitely will be thwarted and things will be troublesome then. Su Xing also understood this point, so the two concealed their identities, not revealing their star generals to the public. This road still required flights across sea after sea. Along the way, they perhaps would encounter some demon beasts. If they delayed like this, 10 days perhaps would not work. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. A half-month's time seemed completely insufficient. What, you seem very anxious. Zhao Hanyan felt this was strange. There's some things. Su Xing nodded, not wishing to speak more. If you encounter trouble, just tell this princess. Do not forget that you and I are bound by the 1,000-year intertwined branches. This princess certainly does not wish to encounter a crisis and idle absolutely ignorantly. Zhao Hanyan warned. Su Xing smiled. These words made him feel comfort in his heart. But to tell her the truth? To have her become enemies with Maiden Mountain? Su Xing felt it was better to not implicate her. I have my own propriety. Zhao Hanyan understood Su Xing's personality. She nodded silently. Very quickly, the mistress sent the wine and food over, along with an additional bottle of fine liquor. Your servant is this place's lady boss, Meinyang. Just now, your servant took bold liberties with the two guests. This is a bit of Meinyang's generosity. Meinyang's person was charming as her name. She had a flattering smile, bright brows that were quite alluring, as if she was born of the heavens. Zhao Hanyan disliked her licentious attitude, but since the other person's smiling face expressed her apology, the Ling Yan princess could not easily say anything. She merely silently nodded. Your servant is busy. Both of you, do not hesitate to command your servant. Meinyang shall first go to prepare your beds. Meinyang smiled. Then thanks. Meinyang ascended the building not at all to go prepare their beds, but instead she walked past a corridor, arriving at a private booth on the 2nd floor. That flattering smile concealed a slightly aroused killing intent. Dear husband, what about those two? Inside the room sat an immaculate and handsome black-clothed man. Parting the curtain to glance at Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan, seeing the woman enter, the man smiled. Meinyang, what do you feel? To be supercluster cultivation at such a young age, if they were not star masters, then they are world-shocking geniuses. Maidens said. Regardless of whichever one. Tonight they will become our meal, will they not? The man smiled. Dear husband has but truly planned everything. That woman is quite shrewish. Perhaps eating her will not be that easy. Maidens sat on a chair, her snow-white thigh exposed from that part in her cheapao. It seems those things that we collected can now be put to good use. The man nodded, imposing. Maidens' eyes amorously rolled about. Dear husband, do you truly plan to use that? I feel that woman will be exceptionally delectable. The man licked his lips, grinning widely. Humph. Maidens feigned jealousy. That man is quite elegant. Maidens certainly will not be modest. Do not hesitate to go do it. Right, the nest-stifling powder. 2 is ready for use. The man reminded. Maidens' smile drove all things mad. She walked over and used both her hands to rest the man's head within her plump chest. Maidens has already done so. Su Xing opened the door and sized up the room. The room was decorated actually very exquisitely. There was a large bed with carvings, a tiger-patterned desk and chair, and on the desk were lit some dim candles. The room was very clean. This princess shall sleep first. Zhao Hanyan yawned, somewhat exhausted. She immediately waked to the adjacent room and shut the door. Continuing to rush, Su Xing was quite beat. Sitting on the soft bed, a feeling of weariness suddenly attacked him. Little Huang? Su Xing called several times, finding that there was no response from inside the star nest. Most probably, 7 days of rushing had tired them out. Along the way, they encountered many 10th-rank demon beasts, which was exhausting. Su Xing smiled, and he disturbed them no more. However, just in case, Su Xing still set down a forbid dance inside the room. Only then did he lower his head to sleep. In his dream, Su Xing had a very savory wet dream. He dreamed that he and Zhao Hanyan waged a great war absolutely naked on their flying swords. The Ling Yan princess appeared to have unprecedented passion, endlessly seeking him. Suddenly Zhao Hanyan's amorous and rippling beauty became the appearance of the peace and happiness in's owner, Maidens. The woman's thighs clamped around him tightly, and a powerful feeling of bliss seemed to wash over Su Xing like a tide. Su Xing only felt that all of the star energy in his whole body was seemingly sucked away like passing river water. The happy feeling reached an unbearable discomfort. Su Xing suddenly opened his eyes. In his face, he saw a woman seemingly alluring from head to toe. She currently straddled upon Su Xing's body, her hands gently caressing Su Xing's chest. She was indeed the peace and happiness in's proprietress, Maidens. Can't move. Su Xing suddenly noticed that his hands and feet were incapable of budging, and there was currently a bizarre feeling of ecstasy surging through his blood, as if it was about to break out of his body. This feeling was very uncomfortable. Su Xing activated the soul technique. Maidens kissed Su Xing, her tone intimate. Little dearest, don't struggle. Obediently engage Maidens tonight. Impossible. Su Xing was shocked to find his immediate use of the absolute sincerity soul technique was incapable of suppressing the desire exploding in his body. What did you do to me? Su Xing said with difficulty. Outstanding, as expected. To unexpectedly suppress the charm fire of the 7 emotions 6 desires spice? Maidens licked her lips. Her hand felt the raging blood in Su Xing's body, rubbing her legs together. Suddenly, Maidens lowered her head, gazing directly at Su Xing. Her expression was just like a bottomless pit, full of allure. Little dearest, obediently enjoy ecstasy with Maidens. Su Xing was currently using all his power to circulate the absolute sincerity soul technique. Maidens suddenly opened her mouth, and a kind of powerful sucking force immediately made Su Xing unable to help but open his mouth as well. Then his essence qi immediately flowed out from his body. Like a deflated balloon, Su Xing only felt weak. Not good. This woman feasts on essence qi. Su Xing was inwardly shocked. This woman used some unknown magic to surprisingly convert his whole body's magic energy into essence qi. Then she sucked it away. Su Xing promptly used the absolute sincerity soul technique to suppress the hormones in his body. Only by doing this could he resist. Absorbing for several dozen seconds, Maidens felt very dissatisfied. She looked at Su Xing without that charm from before. It seems you have some ability. However, this 7 feelings 6 desires spice was refined using 10,000-year-een milk. 3. No one in the world can resist it. 10,000-year-een milk. Su Xing inwardly shouted that he was out of luck. 10,000-year-een milk was a milk obtained from a type of demon beast that dwelled in the ocean depths. It was a kind of supreme een-inducing medicine. And Suan required 3 types of medicine materials in order to refine the een-yang lovemaking powder. They were divided into supreme yang, supreme een, and the middleness. Su Xing knew a bit, and in the case this kind of 10,000-year-een milk was absorbed into the body, even a saint was incapable of breaking free. Su Xing thought that the candles on that table had it secretly refined within. He never would have anticipated that the woman in front of him would surprisingly have this sort of item so defiant of the natural order. Su Xing did his utmost to circulate the soul technique to res it. Maidens charmingly smiled. She suddenly lowered her head and kissed Su Xing. This kiss immediately made the soul technique collapse. Violent desire once again surged. Through her lips and tongue, Maidens began to wantonly absorb the essence qi in Su Xing's body. Under this sort of speed, he absolutely would be sucked dry as a kernel. Su Xing did not expect to encounter this sort of thing. Secretly, he called out for Yan Yizhen and Gong Sun Huang inside the star nest, only to discover his connection with them was severed. There was a complete lack of response. This peace and happiness clearly was a murder in. Everything had been arranged perfectly. In order to make Su Xing's lust erupt, Maidens undid each of their clothes, exposing her impressive figure. That ample bosom continuously rubbed against him, and those small and exquisite cherries 5 were long already incomparably hard, little by little crumbling down Su Xing's resistance. Maidens' hands were not idle, either. One went downwards, feeling between Su Xing's thighs, playing with it. 6. Su Xing groaned, somewhat unable to persist. The 7 feelings 6 desires spice inherently was unexcelled in inducing lust, and being fondled so maddeningly by Maidens like this was adding grease to the fire. Su Xing only felt his whole body seem to burn like fire. Su Xing forcefully composed himself, once again using the meditative mind lotus flower, resisting the charm magic by means of Buddhism. Maidens' supple tongue wound around his for a while. She then noticed that the essence qi was increasingly a trickle, and she felt great disbelief. Ordinarily, even if she was facing a supercluster cultivator, so long as they opened their mouth, she could easily absorb their essence qi. Not only was she unable to tonight, winding their lips and tongues together was somewhat lacking in force. Sure enough, he was a star master. Maidens' eyes glinted, and she continued her fervent kiss. Su Xing's face was solemn, like a Buddha's, making Maidens very disgusted. Let us see just how long you can pretend. Even Buddha would die from excessive ejaculation under this lady's soul allure. 7. Maidens once again kissed Su Xing, but Su Xing did not react at all, like a wooden dummy. Maidens was impatient. She lay down on Su Xing's pants. His lower body clearly was already a sky-supporting pillar, yet he could still preserve his essence qi. This honestly was unbelievable. This lady today will specially service you. Saying this, Maidens' cherry lips parted, and she took Su Xing's thing into her mouth. 8. From that warm orifice came a provocation more terrifying than a kiss or caress. Maidens' tongue lapped across like a nimble snake, and she began to absorb essence qi. Powerful essence qi immediately was released from little Su Xing. Maidens' complexion was pink, her deep valley moist, her heart delighted. She promptly bit, even more intimately. His clear will suddenly disintegrated. Su Xing understood that today, he had met the crisis of the sucking queen. The hard little Su Xing was wrapped up by her warm mouth, and Su Xing's whole body was completely unable to budge. Gritting his teeth, he suddenly thought of dual cultivation magic. In a moment of desperation, he used the Dharma happiness chan of the meditative mind lotus flower to deeply dual cultivate, beginning to use full power to activate the dual cultivation magic. The Maidens that was currently lapping up his fluids suddenly felt that the essence qi she was absorbing once again endlessly be sucked back by some sort of suction. Not only this, even her own primordial yin qi began to be absorbed. Maidens was greatly shocked. She hastily activated at full power her dark rank star magic, soul allure. In order to make Su Xing's lust take even greater control of him, her hands continuously tantalized Su Xing's whole body, and she even used her breasts to rub against little Su Xing. 6. It could even said she exhausted all possible means. She nearly fed the tiger using her own body. The two were in the middle of launching an invisible yet fierce war, their essence chi pulled back and forth. The feeling of pleasure truly was unprecedented. Mainyang's thighs long already were violently flooded, drenching the bed into a vast ocean. However, Su Xing was completely not controlling his lust. He was merely exploiting the magic of dual cultivation, absorbing back whatever Mainyang sucked away. By doing so, the woman seemed to be only serving Su Xing while Mainyang only felt great exhaustion. Following the progression of dual cultivation, the 7 feelings 6 desires spice was increasingly weak. Su Xing sensed that his body was already able to move. Fearing that Zhao Hanyan would have trouble, Su Xing immediately increased the soul technique. Golden lotuses sprouted in the air, sprinkling a Buddhist light. An endless intensity suddenly surged into Mainyang's throat, yet the woman absorbed everything without shedding a tear as she nearly choked. Tenhei. After the orgasm passed, Su Xing's body suddenly recovered its freedom. He rose and attacked with a palm. The woman hastily dodged, some milky white liquid still at the side of her lips. In Mainyang's eyes was extreme humiliation, and her expression suddenly changed. Zhangqing. 11. Her body was in pain as she let out a groan, for she was struck down to the lower floor by Su Xing's palm. At the same time, a man's scream came from inside Zhao Hanyan's room. Not good. Su Xing no longer minded her, immediately punching a hole in the wall and rushing through. 12. He saw that Zhao Hanyan wore the colors of spring on her face, her legs powerlessly curled in the corner, her eyes hazy. Thank heavens that the clothes and cap on Zhao Hanyan's whole body were still intact, an appearance of not having suffered violation. In the air, several dozen flying swords protected Zhao Hanyan. Psychic communication flying swords? No wonder. Die. Zhao Hanyan coldly shouted. The flying swords flashed by. In front of her was a fair-skinned man. The man screamed. The psychic flying swords were very powerful, immediately running holes through his body. Sensing the state of the Mainyang from before, Su Xing was already certain this man named Zhangqing was Mainyang's star master. 13. The man escaped out the window, but he very quickly was cut down by the flying swords. He perhaps had never thought that Zhao Hanyan's flying swords would unexpectedly already be at the psychic communication realm. It was known that to be capable of refining a sword chant to the psychic communication was without exception something only a genius could achieve. Having psychic communication flying swords mean that the master was protected from harm at all times even if the master was to lose consciousness. This was the terror of psychic communication flying swords. Hanyan, are you alright? Su Xing rushed over. The 72 outer void flying immortals' swords aimed at Su Xing. Hearing a familiar voice in the haze, only then did Zhao Hanyan retract her hostility, collapsing against Su Xing's chest. Su Xing only felt that the Ling Yan princess' whole body was incomparably scorching, her cheeks an amorous red, the light in her eyes full of sensual desire. Clearly, she also was affected by the 7 feelings 6 desires spice, but she was not as fortunate as Su Xing, who possessed the absolute sincerity soul technique and meditative mind lotus seed. Su Xing hastily transferred the heart clear as mirror realm to Zhao Hanyan. He was full of killing intent towards Mainyang and that man. Dear husband. A scream came from outside the room. Su Xing looked. That Zhangqing was obviously already at his last breath. Mainyang was currently continuously rocking him, screaming, her alluring expression already long gone. You brought this on yourself. Su Xing wanted to use his flying swords, only to discover the flying swords inside him were incapable of moving. He did not know what thing they used to unexpectedly be able to trap a life-cast flying sword or star nest. Today, I will dismember you two into 10,000 pieces. Mainyang hatefully glared at Su Xing suddenly. He saw her open her mouth. That man subconsciously also opened his mouth, and his essence chi was sucked into her mouth. Su Xing felt this was odd. All of a sudden he sensed the world change. Mainyang's whole body underwent a transformation. Her hands became blade-like claws, and her back sprouted wings. Her gaze was fiendish, and strange markings spread across her skin. Heaven Earth Dark Yellow Skill. Yaksha Lady. 14 Shit. Even though Su Xing already took extreme precaution, he completely did not expect the Mainyang with the Yaksha transformation body would have speed that reached such an unimaginable degree. This woman's movements were so beyond reason. Surprisingly accelerating instantly to this degree at such a short distance was simply inconceivable. She flashed by. The room was blown to bits. Su Xing swiftly followed, rushing out without any hesitation. When his body landed, the power of the wind his fist lifted was fierce as he ruthlessly smashed down. The Yaksha lady's black wings formed a defense. The two landed on the inn's front lawn. Before the Yaksha lady could react, Su Xing's figure attacked swift as lightning from the Yaksha lady's front. Without any pause, Su Xing's silhouette abruptly rushed towards the Yaksha lady. His clothes fluttered behind him, his speed was so fast. In an instant he was already under the woman's nose. In the swift and fluttering wind, his fist suddenly punched. A berserk clap of purple thunder resounded. Bang! The Yaksha lady's reactions were extremely quick, surprisingly blocking with her right hand, blocking Su Xing's punch and the thunder filling the sky. Humph! A cold snort of contempt. The Yaksha lady's other hand was the same, and her wings became blades that continuously swept. The attacks of her hands were like whips. Not only were they abnormally fierce, their movements were linked together without any gaps. This could be rated as perfect to the limit. Seeing that Yaksha lady's attack was so brilliant, Su Xing was in secret admiration. To have this level of combat ability right now was thanks to battle doctrine, and the battle discipline honed from battles with countless star generals. This star general appeared to very terrifying, completely not at a disadvantage. His hair had been blown into a mess by the intense wind. Su Xing carrying Zhao Hanyan restricted his movements. Once again, he coldly yelled, and unleashed a purple mansion immortal thunder. The Yaksha lady instantly completed an evasion and counterattack movement. Her body became a black shadow, dodging Su Xing's every attack, ruthlessly attacking him. Su Xing was sent flying. A dark weapon appeared in the Yaksha lady's hand. Upon seeing it, Su Xing drew in a breath. No way. It's unexpectedly her. Su Xing was very shocked, practically incapable of believing this. Mainyang's right hand gripped a black trident. That trident had an Azura demon's form, its body seemingly soaked in blood. In the faintly discernible red bloodlight, 4 stars twinkled. This was the blood sacrifice Azura trident. Not outside of expectations, she was the 103rd ranked strong star female Yaksha Sun Ernyang. 2. But this alone was not likely to make Su Xing feel flabbergasted. In actuality, in Sun Ernyang's left hand, she similarly held a star weapon. That star weapon was a barbed whip. This whip had 3 snake heads, its entire body a gloomy green color ignited with a verdant flame. It had 3 stars. Astonishingly, this was the 102nd ranked execute star gardener Zhang Qing's 3-star weapon, skin-flaying torture heavenly whip. What was going on? Su Xing never thought that a star general could use another star general's star weapon. Sun Ernyang's star master was also named Zhang Qing. However, Su Xing had never believed that this skin-flaying torture heavenly whip was his. Flipping his hand, he brought out the birth treasure outline. The female Yaksha Sun Mainyang held a trident in one hand and raised a whip in the other, not giving Su Xing the chance. Even though he did not know what Sun Ernyang had put inside the wine and food, she had not only sealed the star nest, even his life-cast flying swords were also sealed. Su Xing did not have flying swords of the psychic communication realm that Zhao Hanyan had. He could only prepare to activate a magic weapon. More than 50 outer void flying immortals swords abruptly flew out, crisscrossing as they attacked, blocking Sun Mainyang. Quickly! Zhao Hanyan's tone was like silk, feebly speaking. Su Xing hastily used the birth treasure outline, its golden light shining. Star position, strong star 5-star name. Sun Ernyang 6 nickname. Female Yaksha 7 true name. Sun Mainyang 8 rank. 103rd right hand star weapon. Blood sacrifice soul absorbing trident 9, 4-star, left hand star weapon. Skin flaying torture heavenly whip 4-star. 11-star beast, Scarlet Azura realm. 10,000 techniques 2nd stage innate skill. Essence absorption 12. 5 elements. Wood yellow rank special move. Spirit captivation 13 dark rank special move. Soul allure current status. No contractor can be conquered. Heaven earth dark yellow skill. Yaksha lady 14 detailed materials. Yaksha lady can absorb all of a star maiden's essence chi to undergo transformation into Yaksha lady. Martial force realm all around upgraded. No contractor. Su Xing was shocked. Then the person Zhao Hanyan cut down was a star general? Gardener Zhangqing? Su Xing carefully looked at that man collapsed on the ground taking his dying breaths. Only then did he notice that the other party's complexion was immaculate, and even somewhat effeminate. His body had many wounds cut open by flying swords. Surprisingly, she was a woman dressed as a man. Today, your flesh and blood will be remuneration for shower. 16. Mingyang was unable to restrain her anger. The 2-star weapons danced together, immediately beating back Zhao Hanyan's flying swords. The Ling Yan princess consciousness was basically not too clear. The 72 outer void flying immortals' swords also did not have much usefulness. The female Yaksha also did not expect to surprisingly encounter the Zhao Hanyan capable of psychic communication flying swords. Falling into a conclusion where her dear husband had been seriously injured. So as to avenge Zhang Xiao, Sun Meinyang transformed into the Azura Yaksha without hesitation and pounced. The skin-flaying torture heavenly whip drew back and struck, the snake's fangs coiling towards Su Xing. A sinister astral wind seemingly was pulled to bits and pieces by the whip and intercepted Su Xing outside his range. However, even if he could force his way through, he was not too certain. Confronting a 10,000 techniques 2nd stage star general, Su Xing thought to himself this sort of star general was far from being a foe he could emerge victorious over as of now. He hastily evaded the snake whip. Meinyang's wings flapped, and the other star weapon blood sacrifice soul-absorbing trident rolled out a bloodlight still shot towards Su Xing's stomach. Su Xing snapped his fingers. A purple mansion immortal thunder dissolved into this bloodlight, but the snake whip seized this gap and drew across Su Xing's body. An acute pain accompanied the venomous fangs that bit into his blood vessels. Fortunately, his body had a detoxification pearl that suppressed poisons. 17. Sai Xing then spat out essence blood, becoming the heaven and earth inverted boxing gloves. His palms caught the bloody trident. Dragon punch. Both fists whistled with an eerie dragon roar. Su Xing's figure was immediately pulled long and thin, seemingly transforming into a dragon. Fast. The dragon cry directly shook Meinyang's abdomen, beating back the female Yaksha. Su Xing's second fist followed directly after. His wrist suddenly stiffened, for the skin-flaying torture heavenly whip wound around Su Xing's boxing technique. Sun Meinyang oddly sneered. The whip's poison light ignited, pouncing towards Su Xing and becoming a blaze that wreaked havoc as it devoured Su Xing's star energy, burning Su Xing into a sky lantern. Dark rank technique, sky lantern sacrifice. 18. Sun Meinyang's eyes glinted with cold light. Just at this moment, suddenly, the poison fire dispersed. Su Xing's body techniques suddenly mysteriously changed. His body technique abruptly accelerated, as if space had been distorted. She obviously saw that Su Xing should have been burnt to a crisp by the sky lantern sacrifice, but now it appeared that Su Xing had already broken free of the poison fire. Speed? Reaction? No, that already was not something reactions could do. Dark rank technique. Sun Meinyang was astonished. Immediately, she saw that the star weapons on Su Xing's fists emitted a familiar, imposing air. Watch this. Sun Ernyang was unconcerned. Raising the blood sacrifice soul-absorbing trident, the bloodlight in front of her suddenly dispersed. Each ray of bloodlight was sharper than a blade. But Su Xing wandered about indeterminately in space, making Sun Meinyang completely land on nothing. Her forehead dripped with cold sweat. By the time Sun Meinyang sensed it, she was already too late. Su Xing's fists directly struck her in the abdomen, throwing down Sun Meinyang's arrogant body, her mouth hanging agape. It was the dark rank, heaven and earth inverted. Su Xing's wrist flipped, and the 1,000-year intertwined branch sword in passing stabbed at Sun Meinyang's heart. The Yaksha transformation body of the Sun Meinyang, who had suffered a heavy blow, was 10,000 techniques realm. After all, her silhouette quickly disappeared into the dark night. Not good. Su Xing was too late. Turn around, his fists directly blocking. His gloves directly caught the female Yaksha's attack. Thereupon, several wounds deep enough to see bone appeared on his body, courting death. Sun Meinyang's trident stabbed. Damn it, too fast. Su Xing hastily evaded, nearly being stabbed through the heart. Once again sensing the terror of a 10,000 techniques realm star general. This was different from previous sparring session. This was a life or death battle, completely without any leeway. Su Xing's escape technique disappeared backwards. Sun Meinyang only slightly stepped forth to pursue. In 10,000 techniques realm, escape was a completely senseless action. Not being able to use flying swords greatly restricted Su Xing's abilities. Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder continuously flew out. The purple lotus flowers were also unable to obstruct Sun Meinyang's aggression. Let this lady finally serve you. The female Yaksha suddenly pounced forth. The snake whip directly sealed Su Xing's route. Su Xing did not change expression. His two palms clapped together, and suddenly, a golden lotus blossomed in the air. Treasure kshetras and bodhi emerged in large numbers, and limitless lotus flowers blossomed layer after layer. Blinding Buddhist light shone on the entire cross island, making Sun Meinyang very uncomfortably pause for a moment. Vajra evil smiting palm. Su Xing's palm was brandished, and a giant Buddhist palm mark descended. The 5 dragons colored glass lantern could comprehend Buddhism's countless secret techniques and abilities. The Vajra evil smiting staff was the bounty of these past dozen days. However, the Vajra evil smiting palm did not constitute a threat to Sun Meinyang as far as she was concerned. The blood sacrifice soul-absorbing trident directly stirred the Buddhist palm to pieces. However, Su Xing only seized the opportunity to fight for a bit of time. Taking advantage of this moment, he unleashed countless Purple Mansion Immortal Thunders. A booming explosion stuck Sun Meinyang's body. Insignificant trick. Sun Meinyang sneered, rushing out of the Purple Mansion Immortal Thunder. Although she cut somewhat of a sorry figure, her imposing air did not diminish. The attack instantly arrived. Su Xing took up a defensive stance, but at nearly that split second, Sun Meinyang's silhouette already disappeared. Su Xing was slightly surprised. The female Yaksha wore a cool smile at that moment. She already stuck behind him, her 2 claws slashing. Su Xing's reactions also absolutely exceeded Sun Meinyang's imagination. In her perspective, Star Masters being closed in on by 10,000 techniques realm martial force star generals was akin to being slaughtered, let alone a merely supercluster stage Star Master. But the man in front of her possessed a sort of sense of battle against star generals that surpassed the normal. The strong star female Yaksha Sun Meinyang was too late to ponder as to what was happening. 10,000 techniques realm speed was even faster, and she instantly turned into a phantom that could not be thought over. Her figure wobbled, however, in an instant. Her entire figure became indistinct, dreamlike and illusory. Both sides barely stopped for a few seconds. Light flashed in her eyes, and instantly, that pouncing overwhelming attack already came before Su Xing. Su Xing was exceptionally calm. He turned his hand, and taking a half-turn, he skillfully evaded Sun Meinyang's oppression. Then, he seized the opportunity to turn from defender to aggressor. The divine sword in his hand carved a brilliant attack in the dark night. But his attack could only penetrate a shallow half-inch into Sun Meinyang's space, unable to move in any further. As the strong star, it was unknown the number of Star Masters Sun Meinyang used her frightening innate skill essence absorption on to suck away star energy from. To reach supercluster stage under a no-contract status was absolutely frightening. Powerful star energy formed a barrier that protected against Su Xing's fists attacks, making him unable to take another half-step further. Meanwhile, Sun Meinyang's 2-star weapons crossed and revolted. Again there were several unbearably painful wounds. This lady shall kill your woman then. Sun Meinyang was somewhat anxious in her heart when she saw she was incapable of resolving the situation. Her heaven-earth dark yellow skill already could not persist for too long. Her heart was unreconciled, and she suddenly attacked the unbearably debilitated Zhao Hanyan. Su Xing's chaotic tail escape technique protected Zhao Hanyan. The acute pain of the chaotic tail escape nearly made Su Xing lose consciousness. He forcefully endured the pain. He grabbed the Four Symbols seal and the Earth Book, preparing to use them. Originally, he had wanted to wait until he harvested materials to use these prehistoric spirit treasures again. Now it seemed he already had no choice. Die. A baleful aura instantly closed down on him. At the same time, the jadeite light rays of the intertwined branch sword in Su Xing's hand magnified. Sparkling green branches and vines appeared in the air that wrapped Su Xing within. Su Xing was amazed to sense the divine sword in his hand was in resonance. Countless vines and green leaves in Su Xing's surroundings formed an endlessly multiplying defense. Sun Meinyang's attack completely was intercepted. The divine sword in his hand shuddered even more intensely. Su Xing immediately sensed Zhao Hanyan's feelings inside from this intertwined branch. His hand relaxed, and the intertwined branch flew into the air. The two intertwined branches formed a green bridge, continuously covering Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan, opening jadeite leaves in the black night. After all, it was the 1,000-year divine sword. Sun Meinyang instantly sensed the terrifying power seep into her limbs and bones. The female Yaksha's complexion changed. She suddenly flew backwards, taking hold of the dying gardener Zhang Xiao, and using all her strength to escape. The one to die is you. A feeble voice interrupted. The 2,000-year divine swords let out a clear cry. Sun Meinyang was greatly afraid. She saw green light flash, and immediately, there was a blood-curdling scream. 2 crimson stars fell at the same time. The stars divided and fell into Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan's bodies. A malevolent bloody beast suddenly appeared in midair. Its blood-red eyes coldly glared at Su Xing. This was Sun Meinyang's star beast, the Scarlet Azura. Generally speaking, the majority of star beasts would fall into evil smiting hall following their master's starfall. However, there were also some star beasts that possessed higher levels of awareness that so long as they broke free of a star general before the fall, they could be safe and sound. This Scarlet Azura was clearly one of them. Its 4 strange arms seemed like long snakes that grabbed hold of Sun Meinyang and Zhang Zhao's star weapons. And then it escaped 1,000 li away as a streak of bloodlight. It was too late for the Su Xing who wanted to give chase but was currently surrounded by the intertwined branch swords. He could only watch helplessly as the Scarlet Azura stole the weapons and fled. Su Xing thought to himself that this was a pity. However, star weapons were only designated for star generals and star masters to use. They were but merely trashed to the Scarlet Azura that had taken them. The intertwined branch swords returned to above Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan. The green bridge connected their minds, and it overflowed with life. The surrounding green leaves and vines successively dispersed. Zhao Hanyan groaned, storing away the sword chant. Hanyan, are you all right? Su Xing flashed to her front, supporting her with his arm. You used that chaotic tail escape again? Zhao Hanyan was aghast to see Su Xing covered in cuts all over his body. Her brows wrinkled. Before she had mentioned it, he was fine. Once she brought it up, Su Xing then felt grimacing pain. Just now you're in short, is nothing wrong with your body? Zhao Hanyan's cheeks were colored like peach plums, entirely showing an attractive appearance. The 7 feelings 6 desires spice obviously was not that easy to get rid of. The Ling Yan princess stared at Su Xing. She struck a hand seal, and the intertwined branch sword's green light wandered about. The 2 swords intersected. The green bridge pierced their hearts, pouring spiritual power into their souls. Instantly, Su Xing and Ling Yan princess Zhao Hanyan were immersed within. Su Xing was amazed to sense that their spiritual powers were seemingly cooperating. In the endless green light, the wounds on Su Xing's body visibly rapidly healed, without even the slightest scar remaining. When Su Xing looked to Zhao Hanyan, the Ling Yan princess' pale complexion had already regained color. Her lovely red had already quietly retreated. The green light receded, and the intertwined branch sword then fell heavily into Su Xing's hand. This is the function of this intertwined branch sword? Su Xing could discern it. And so long as each party is willing, this intertwined branch sword can apportion our life force. Zhao Hanyan glanced at Su Xing, noticing this man actually did not selfishly share life with her. Otherwise, she completely would have been unable to wield this consequence of the intertwined branch swords. So it turned out to be this. Su Xing exclaimed. He felt some regret. Sharing life force to recover each other's injuries was indeed very incredible, but the opposite party had to lose half of their star energy. Otherwise, it would have been comparable to Insuan's life returning magic hands. Are you regretting that this princess is unable to let you cure that aphrodisiac? Zhao Hanyan mockingly said. This aphrodisiac plot is too melodramatic. Actually, I personally still hope for mutual consent. Su Xing righteously replied. Zhao Hanyan had an who would believe you expression. The star nest has been sealed. Do you have any good ideas? Su Xing asked her. The star nest has been sealed. Zhao Hanyan tested, and as expected, she could not hear Dong Juanqing's response. No wonder. To unexpectedly even have this sort of poison that can seal the star nest, I wonder how it can be cured. Su Xing wrinkled his brow. Zhao Hanyan appeared to not take this seriously. Although the martial force of earthly stars is weak, the majority of spiritual energy-type star generals are among the earthly stars. They have talents and abilities that, if used appropriately, disposing a heavenly star is not impossible. This included Gardener Zhangqing. With her ability to grow some star nest sealing medicines and such, this was not a hard problem. In Zhao Hanyan's perspective, this probably was the legendary nest stifling. During nest stifling, star generals and star masters would sever all contact. To cure this was very simple, simply wait for time to pass. It appears this black turtle territory is indeed dangerous. This princess did not expect to encounter Sun Ernyang and Zhangqing here. Zhao Hanyan muttered. Suddenly, the Lingyan princess' eyes flashed with a clear light as she gazed at Su Xing. At this time, Su Xing was currently trying to rouse the beauties inside the star nest, and he did not see the ripple of pensiveness that flowed through Zhao Hanyan's eyes. Su Xing, this princess wishes to ask you a question. Zhao Hanyan pondered for a moment, and then she spoke. What question? Seeing there really was no way, Su Xing could only give up. Do you know where the significance of the star duels lies? Zhao Hanyan said in a low voice. What do you want to ask? Su Xing frowned. The final phase of Maiden Mountain star duels will have the 7 stars assembly, but there can only be one final victor. You must understand? You want to say that since there can only be one final victor, the rest must necessarily die in battle? Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan affirmed. In other words, regardless of how close their relationship was, when the time came, things would be you die and I live. There absolutely was no second possibility. This was the karma of the past 1,000 years. Even the previous generation's overlord Wu Song was unable to avoid it. When Su Xing saw that Zhao Hanyan was serious, he thought for a moment. He also earnestly replied. Then since we have signed the 1,000-year contract, could it be we are to die together in the name of love at the very end? You wish to die together with this princess in the name of love. Zhao Hanyan's smile carried a slight charm. Are you so willing to part with your star generals? Do I have to make a choice about parting or not? Su Xing did not accept this. If you and I aren't enemies, then what about it? That Maiden Mountain will not sit idly by. Zhao Hanyan answered. Then that's it. There is obviously the third choice, break the rules. Su Xing smiled. Zhao Hanyan's mouth hung agape. Her heart was suddenly beat ruthlessly upon by something. Her chest tightened, choked into speechlessness. She gazed at Su Xing with eyes full of disbelief. Break the rules? She had never thought about this. More so, never had a star master ever dared to think about it. Zhao Hanyan wanted to say arrogant, naive, courting death and other words to strike down Su Xing, but when she saw Su Xing's careless expression, that hidden and rarely seen seriousness, the Lingyan princess understood. This man was not lying. He is mad, he is truly mad, however this princess likes it. Not knowing if it was the last vestiges of the 7 feelings 6 desires spice in her body causing mischief, Zhao Hanyan only felt her body grow hot and her heart pound endlessly. The Lingyan princess delicately walked over to Su Xing, her manner universally charming. A virgin's delicate fragrance poured into his soul, provoking confusion. Just as Su Xing was feeling flabbergasted, The Ling Yan princess smiled sweetly. She gently hugged Su Xing's head and pulled it downwards. That medicine still has not completely been cured from this princess body. From now on, you are this princess man. In Su Xing's astonishment, Zhao Hanyan opened her mouth and kissed him, a tyrannical hot kiss. The 7 feelings 6 desires spice that he was already close to suppressing after much difficulty once again made a resurgence following Zhao Hanyan's kiss. Yang fire bubbled forth and burned across Su Xing's whole body. The Ling Yan princess' warm and fragrant bosom, her passionately entwining tongue. How could Su Xing control himself? Moreover, both of them who could sign the 1,000-year contract had good feelings toward each other. It could not be said that their minds were in psychic understanding, but at the minimum, their hearts could harmonize. In Su Xing's brief shock, he immediately still attacked. Both his hands stroked Zhao Hanyan's back. As he ravaged the Ling Yan princess' red lips, exchanging saliva, Su Xing tore open the lapel to Zhao Hanyan's palace dress. Her light purple exquisite bodice immediately was exposed, frankincense permeating the whole place, more arousing than those aphrodisiac panaceas. Su Xing's hand parted the bodice and grasped those jutting mountains, feeling the Ling Yan princess' formidable fullness. Zhao Hanyan's body restlessly squirmed, somewhat unbearable. This time, without the steadfast star's interference, the two of them could be said to be fishes back in the water. The palace skirt was peeled off. The Ling Yan princess' light purple silken underwear was embroidered with beautiful roses, her tempting curves completely visible. Beneath the half-transparent silk, Su Xing could slightly see the secret garden that lay underneath. Su Xing's mouth was dry, his yang fire burned, and his body swelled incredibly. Although the man in front of her had once embraced her naked body, even witnessing twice the scene of her and Dong Junqing engaged in lovemaking, it was reasonable to say that Zhao Hanyan ought to be accustomed. This time, however, they were nevertheless seriously treating each other sincerely. Zhao Hanyan was a bit bashful, her hands hastily hugging her chest to cover her light purple bodice. Her whole face blushed red as if it were aflame. She lightly bit her red lips. If in the future you dare flirt with other women, this princess certainly will not forgive you. Then isn't that too bad? Su Xing lifted his head. Shut up. Zhao Hanyan's body slightly shuddered. Although she had sex with Dong Junqing many times now, this was her first time with the opposite sex, after all. Just the masculine chi of the man before her sharply contrasting with Dong Junqing was enough to make Zhao Hanyan somewhat incessantly dizzy, ecstatic even more fiercely than before. Her underwear already had a wet mark. The Ling Yan princess pushed Su Xing to the ground, straddled and mounted him. Her hands wound around to her back, and began to undo the thin knots at her neck, and at the small of her back. Zhao Hanyan felt a flow of heat at the place where that evil thing of Su Xing's lower body touched her, only feeling that her whole body was limp and powerlessly about to collapse. Su Xing was already completely attracted by Zhao Hanyan's half-respectable and half-graceful seductive appearance. The knots were untied, and the bodice immediately fell loose. Zhao Hanyan bashfully went, "Ah," one hand covering her fair and ample chest. "Turn away, you." Zhao Hanyan was left somewhat at a loss of what to do by Su Xing's hot gaze. Su Xing smiled. He rose and felt past Zhao Hanyan's arms. Zhao Hanyan gasped in surprise. Her tender breasts stood erect, full of well-proportioned beauty. Her light pink color 5 was charming and arousing, making Su Xing's blood vessels swell at the sight. He opened his mouth and greedily sucked them. This kiss nearly sucked away all of the strength in Zhao Hanyan's whole body. The Ling Yan princess' hands grabbed Su Xing's head, the expression on her face one of both pleasure and pain. Her underwear was gently pushed past her knees. Below her snow-white belly was a black and mesmerizing underbrush. That place of fragrant and luxuriant bush truly made him feel excited, and itched to immediately peel that underbrush open, to peep into the mysterious place that allured his soul. Her snow-white and gracefully curving slender legs and her perfectly round and jutting, but both brimmed with an elasticity. How could Zhao Hanyan's sensitive places stand such provocation? An electric current passed through her whole body, and she could not help but moan. "Wifey Hanyan, I'll come in?" Su Xing maintained the last bit of reason. "Humph." Zhao Hanyans amorously glanced at Su Xing suddenly. She flipped her body and swapped their positions, the man on bottom and the woman on top. With a red face she said, "This princess does not wish to be squashed beneath you. This princess will come conquer you herself." 6. To Zhao Hanyans' slight arrogance, Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyans' hands trembled. Staring at Su Xing, she slowly sat down. The Ling Yan princess' brows knit tighter and tighter the deeper she penetrated. It was just like her narrow valley was being pierced by a fiery, sharp sword, incredibly painful. Fortunately, the moisture of her boundless sea alleviated the heat. So painful. This princess cannot anymore. Zhao Hanyans' brows were tightly furrowed, showing she was afraid. However, at this time, he already could not help her. Su Xing's lust flowed like a deluge. He grabbed the girl's waist suddenly and forcefully straightening his back. There was a cry signifying the end of purity. Zhao Hanyans' eyes were full of tears. Both painfully and joyfully she cursed, "Lord husband, you shameless pervert." And then she welcomed her lord husband's revenge attack. 2. Although Zhao Hanyan wished to use the top position to conquer Su Xing, in the end, she still had no way to contend against the feelings of her body. She obediently stuck her supple but up in the shameful position that the arrogant princess did not detest at all. Concluding this deep intimacy, although the Ling Yan princess enjoyed Su Xing's attacks, her mouth still cursed him. After several torrents of his river poured into her valley, Zhao Hanyan had already lost all her strength, not wanting to lift even a finger. And the life of the giant vines that the intertwined branch swords formed enveloping the two was increasingly bright. The aura of the life force endlessly poured into the swords. Su Xing sensed that the intertwined branch swords were even more powerful. Hanyan. Su Xing lay on top of Zhao Hanyan's body. He stared into her bashful eyes. "What are you doing?" Zhao Hanyan panted. Su Xing wanted to speak, but he stopped. He had no need to speak aloud sweet talk to express his tender feelings. He lowered his head and kissed her. Zhao Hanyan closed her eyes and savored him, her body pandering to him. She lost track of how many times her soft and elastic body had made Su Xing react. "You can't." Zhao Hanyan had a nervous appearance of powerlessly catering to his happiness. Dual cultivation arts or whatever were fine, but in the case it made Su Xing's desire open, he would be even more intense. "From now on don't polish mirrors with Dong Junqing." "As if this princess would promise you." Zhao Hanyan harumphed. "Really?" Su Xing made an evil grin, spreading Zhao Hanyan's slender legs open into an M shape. 8. The Ling Yan princess panicked. "Su Xing, don't. The star nest will recover right away. This princess will promise you, all right." "Haven't the star nests not recovered yet?" Su Xing chuckled, once again tightly embracing her. Zhao Hanyan's brows wrinkled. A familiar fullness filled the inside of her body. During its slow movements, Zhao Hanyan once again moaned, cursing him with the two words, "So shameless." The sun rose in the east. The first rays of dawn's glory sprinkled upon the sea, dispersing the darkness. Zhao Hanyan stood on the shore, gazing into the distance. Passing through a night of pandering to him, and even his wantonness just now. The Ling Yan princess somewhat hurt. Fortunately, she was a supercluster cultivator. She could very quickly recover from this bit of pain. It was just about time for the star nest to recover its connection. "Princess! Master!" Yan Yizhen, Gongsun Huang and Dong Junqing emerged from the star nest in succession, anxiously crying out, "I'm fine." Su Xing consoled them, summarizing the matter of Sun Mainyang, naturally leaving out the dubious plot points that occurred along the way. Never expected to encounter Gardener Zhangqing. Dong Junqing was grave. "Your Highness, from now on little Huang will not enter the star nest." Gongsun Huang floated up and landed on Su Xing's shoulder, blinking. Su Xing smiled. "Great, there's only a feeling when I'm with you." "Princess, are you truly unhurt?" Dong Junqing suspiciously eyed Zhao Hanyan, noticing that she apparently became somewhat different from before. A slight flirtatiousness was now seemingly in her respectable attitude. Dong Junqing's brows wrinkled, and then she looked to Su Xing. "Junqing, you need not worry. If this princess was not willing, could that man be able to bully this princess?" Zhao Hanyan's words had a double meaning. If he dared to do something to Princess Highness, Dong Juanqing's words express killing intent. Junqing, do not always be like this. You also know I have the 1,000-year contract with Su Xing, and are even considered a married couple, Junqing. You ought to be very clear about the meaning since Han Yan brought him to go meet the Lingdong Countess. Dong Junqing was silent. All right, speak no more of this. In the future, we must be more careful about the Black Turtle territory. The devil sects are numerous in this place, their evil techniques emergent. We cannot be careless. Zhao Hanyan smiled. However, forgive Junqing for speaking forthrightly. Su Xing is a star master after all. Princess and he will become enemies in the end. Junqing also asks Princess to go quickly see the Bright Moon Longevity Palace to obtain the Tears of Vega to remove this contract. The steadfast star was stern, not kidding at all. Hanyan has her own propriety. Zhao Hanyan was expressionless. A moment later. Wife, are we setting out now? Su Xing said. Hearing this wife address, Dong Juanqing's brows rose, yet she did not say more. To think of addressing this princess as wife, you must first pass that Father Emperor checkpoint. Otherwise, however you flaunt your tongue, this princess certainly will become hostile. Zhao Hanyan's expression flirtatiously admonished him. Su Xing was not to act recklessly. If he actually provoked Dong Juanqing's jealousy, that would not be good. Su Xing chuckled, nodding. Their flying swords shook, immediately soaring into the sky, flying towards the far north of the Black Turtle territory. Connecting Heaven Ancient Tomb, the 7th floor. An enormous rumble. A lion-like, tiger-like tomb-guarding beast slammed itself over. Yuan, are careful. Wu Xinjie shouted in alarm. Elder sister, watch this. Sure, Yuan chuckled. Roar. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's heaven-shaking roar once again undulated through the mausoleum, shaking the tomb's dust into chaotically scattering. Shi Yuan's silhouette ran at high speed through the tomb's corridor, practically faster than wind. The aggression of the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast behind her probably could be rated as fierce, untouchable from head to toe. Shi Yuan's speed was not one bit inferior to the lion-tiger king. Seeing that it was a bit unable to keep up, this tomb guardian immediately spread its wings. They appeared to be made of stone, but with a flap, it unexpectedly took flight. Shi Yuan leaped, landing to the side with several somersaults. The hoodwinking flying claws interwove like a net, blocking the tomb guardian's sneak attack. When Wu Xinjie saw, she immediately scuttled to the front of the door to the connecting Heaven Ancient Tomb's 7th floor. She fixed her eyes on the inscription upon the door, pondering the mechanism to open it. The connecting Heaven Ancient Tomb deserved to be named one of the legendary 7 great ancient tombs. The dangers of the 7 floors were consecutive and layered. Each door had a tomb guardian and an extremely difficult mechanism. As long as she could solve the mechanism, she could open the door. The gate mechanism before her was considerably bizarre. In the middle of the 2 door panels was carved countless characters. These characters were pistons that could be pushed in. When Wu Xinjie saw this, she knew that the characters on the gate were the mechanism to unlock this gate. Looking again to the mystery of the inscription, there was only one sentence upon it. Please think twice, sir. You must open door. You must open door? In other words, if we fail even once, things would be troublesome? Wu Xinjie frowned. She had heard of many theories of mechanisms that if they failed, they would encounter a formidable tomb mechanism, even possibly starfall. For one like the connecting Heaven Ancient Tomb, Wu Xinjie believed this was certainly so. Gritting her teeth, Shi Yuan waved a banner. She could only release one of the 7th-rank puppet beasts that she was so proud of. Go! Boom! The 7th-rank puppet beast was crushed to pieces by several smacks from the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast. Shi Yuan wept without tears, for it was too useless. Roar! The lion-tiger beast pounced towards the girl. Just at this moment, a ray of white light struck it. It is better to allow Hua Shui to take over. The 9-tailed spirit fox Hua Shui unfurled her beautiful 9 tails, blocking in front of Shi Yuan. The best thief under heaven was endlessly moved. The 9-tailed spirit fox's powerful presence made this tomb-guarding beast feel a trace of dread, but the tomb-guarding beast merely hesitated for a moment, immediately pouncing. Careful, those claws are very powerful. Even my 7th rank puppet was unable to withstand it. Xu Yuan hastily warned. Bang bang. Sounds as if a heavy hammer was striking iron resounded. Hua Shui let out a charming laugh, somewhat disdainful. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's sharp claws continuously and frantically fell like raindrops upon her. An ice-cold aura unfurled from its limbs, firmly trapping the 9-tailed spirit fox's body, without the least bit of relaxation, untiringly attacking the objective that perhaps was already crushed. The berserk attack stirred up great amounts of dust that filled the entire place. In the air, a beam of light shone on her. Emitting a dazzling white light, Hua Shui was calm and graceful, like a queen. She allowed her opponent to carry out its frantic attack. This sort of attack speed and power made Xu Yuan tremble in fear. However, immediately after seeing Hua Shui was very calm and unperturbed, she also calmed down. Mournfully bellowing, Hua Shui suddenly broke free of the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's attack, shooting out several dozen fox fires. These fox fires were like chains that whooshed and shot over to shackle the tomb-guarding beast. Although its body was bound by every sort of oppressive binding, that did not mean it had lost its ability to attack. The tomb-guarding beast let out a low roar, and an ice-cold shadow burst out from its mouth, pouncing for the Hua Shui just within its reach. The shadow suddenly wrapped around Hua Shui's body. Elder sister Xinjie, will something bad happen to Hua Shui? Xu Yuan quickly scuttled to Wu Xinjie's front. Watching the tomb-guarding beast with some lingering fear, this connecting heaven ancient tomb's 7th floor tomb-guarding beast was this powerful. The next few floors still did not reach the main hall. The thief star was somewhat worried. Hua Shui can manage. Wu Xinjie self-confidently replied. Since she said so, Xu Yuan could only watch. After her grief was torn to shreds, the shadow dispersed at the same time. The tomb-guarding beast that was about to prepare for an unbridled roar of victory was stunned. It was amazed to discover the whole body of the 9-tailed spirit fox before it glowed with a silver-white and crystalline luster. In the blackness of the tomb, she emitted a sparkling light, and even Xu Yuan could not help but be astonished upon seeing it. A stone beast dares to be unbridled. Hua Shui laughed. She hissed and her figure flashed. Once again, she fiercely attacked the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast. At the same time she exploded with white light. Hua Shui flipped backwards to retreat, its nimble movements allowing it to dodge the tomb-guarding beast's counterattack. Her body drew a beautiful arc in the air. Hua Shui stopped in midair, suddenly unfurling her 9 tails. A fist-sized fox fire ignited in the darkness. Hit where it hurts. Although the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast was made of stone, that did not mean it was without weakness. Countless fox fires descended. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast roared. At the same time, it spat out a shadowy storm, unexpectedly churning the 9-tailed spirit fox's fox fire to bits. Hua Shui's whole body in the air was like a bolt of white lightning, or perhaps using thunderclap was a more appropriate word to describe it. Hua Shui's silhouette of imposing thunder was glimpsed for no more than an instant, when it already was completely unclear. Only a wildly revolving tornado was visible rolling in the air, violently attacking the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's figure. Xu Yuan watched stunned. She completely did not know what movement Hua Shui made, however. That shocking aggression was just like a giant fox flying in the air, mercilessly biting the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's head. The hard sculpture unexpectedly gave rise to a kind of feeling of it being torn apart alive. It was visible to the naked eye. The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast's figure was chewed on by the Hua Shui-shaped giant fox, currently having a large hole getting carved out of it. An ear-piercing chafing and ripping sound resounded in the sky, and even a monster like the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast that had no will felt pain. It opened its mouth wide and let out a shrill shriek. The painful action passed in an instant. In the enormous shriek, the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast finally recovered its ability to move. First, it attacked the giant fox that was still biting it. The shadow of deterrent that the attack alone brought already rolled up the surrounding tornado. The winter snow shuddered violently because of its attack, the might within visible. An enormous rumble. Xu Yuan covered her ears shouting, "Elder sister, Just what is this nine-tailed spirit fox star beast? Why is it so powerful? Wu Xinjie glanced over and shook her head. Historical data pertaining to the nine-tailed spirit fox was completely unwritten. However, to be able to draw out the 8 gates black gold chain, it could be seen that it was anything but ordinary, let alone that the nine-tailed spirit fox was more intelligent than they had imagined. Elder sister, is the mechanism not done yet? Shi Yuan asked again. This mechanism is somewhat thorny. Wu Xinjie sighed. Perhaps we are powerless against the connecting heaven ancient tomb. Ah! Furthermore, Hua Shui and the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast were locked in battle. After a great jolt, the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast appeared to already be injured. It howled, holes of damage already appearing in its head, looking fierce and monstrous. However, these did not count as much to it. Hua Shui still was that relaxed. Its 4 limbs were graceful, leisurely trotting about. Roar! The lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast furiously roared, like an actual giant beast, its breath rapidly condensing, inflating. Its body seemed to also possess a wild animal's qualities. It continuously let out a stifling, low roar, arched its body and fiercely pounced at Hua Shui. They were full of a feeling that seemed as if the entire space had been ripped apart. The entire cave practically became the world under the tomb-guarding beast. Its body incessantly emitted a cold air that made Shi Yuan basically incapable of drawing near. If the lion-tiger tomb-guarding beast had used this aggression from the start, that would be awful. Worthy of being the 7th floor's tomb-guarding beast. The sharp shadow turned into its violent weapon. Slave has played enough. Now to send you on a journey. Hua Shui's pupils were alluring. They shot out cold light, and her figure immediately flashed. Like a single tree leaf floating in a surging ocean. Hua Shui this instant completely showed the 9-tailed spirit fox's kingly might. A pair of eyes more transparent than crystal. And her pupils seemed to be full of a piercing ice cold and countless flying ice fragments. The 9 tails unfurled like clumps of ice. The tomb-guarding beast's keen attack always missed by a hair's breadth. The sharp tip it brought nevertheless not even drawing near Hua Shui. Its powerful anger's repeated attack exchanges merely had large clumps of lifted dust. Yet it was unable to touch the original target. Although its movements already reached the limits of what it could accomplish, it nevertheless still was not the least bit useful. Abruptly stopping its body, a chafing and ear-piercing sound entered their ears. The tomb-guarding beast's enormous body already forcefully stopped. Immediately after its body stopped, the countless shadows on its body seemed to instantly shoot out like dark weapons. The ear-piercing scream of air being torn apart filled the air. The densely packed shadows covered all of the spaces that Hua Shui could dodge to, completely without any blind spots. Along with the launch of the shadows, its mouth once again opened wide. The light ball within the pitch blackness was shockingly before their eyes. Its eyes exploded with cold light, and then Hua Shui truly moved. A bolt of white light flashed past the black shadow. Boom! Hua Shui passed through the tomb-guarding beast's imposing air, and nimbly walked to Shi Yuan and Wu Xinjie's front, as if she had just finished a stroll. So incredible! Shi Yuan exclaimed. Slave has put on a shameful display. Hua Shui deferentially crept. When she finished, the tomb-guarding beast's whole body disintegrated. Shi Yuan suddenly yelped. When the tomb-guarding beast shattered, a piece of gem entered her eye. Rather than say it was a gem, it was better to say that it was a transparent flame. Puppet spirit. Shi Yuan was overjoyed at the unexpected sight. Puppet spirits were a type of puppet beast, but they were far more powerful than a soul. Possessing a bit of intelligence, and even more importantly, a puppet spirit did not require any materials to pass through refinement. It would automatically produce a puppet. The strength would vary, and a weak one was perhaps a rat. A powerful one could possibly be a holy beast. The mechanism book recorded that there once was a mechanism great master that used a puppet spirit to refine a holy beast, which could be said to be frightening. HM, no wonder it's so powerful. Shi Yuan happily thought. Obtaining this puppet spirit, even if they departed the connecting heaven ancient tomb this moment, she would not have any regrets. Master, have you met with trouble? Hua Shui asked. And this mechanism is not easy to break. Wu Xinjie hesitated indefinitely. Without Su Xing, her heart always seemed to be missing something. If you can't do it, forget about it. Elder sister, having a puppet spirit is a very good harvest. Shi Yuan consoled. Oh, do you wish for Hua Shui to help master? You know the secret of this mechanism? Wu Xinjie could discern the implications. Hua Shui nodded. How is it broken? Master needs only to press the character open. 10 on the left door and press the door. 11 character on the right door. Hua Shui observed, and then it respectfully spoke. Open door. 12 Wu Xinjie was stunned. Looking again to that mystery. Please, sir, think twice, you must open door. You must open door, you must open door. Open door, she immediately guffawed. It was unexpectedly this simple. Xinjie truly was careless. That is because elder sister Xinjie feels that the connecting heaven ancient tombs mechanisms are very profound. Su Xing said so before. Some tombs that show more complex mechanisms are more easily able to fool people. He said this is a person's blind spot. Shi Yuan comforted her although she did not know what blind spot 13 meant. Wu Xinjie nodded, smiling. Indeed it is so. Next, Wu Xinjie consecutively pressed open door on the left and right gates. As expected, the gate immediately rumbled open. Let us go. This ought to be the end of the connecting heaven ancient tomb? Wu Xinjie smiled. Suddenly, Shi Yuan sensed a chill come from behind, causing her limbs to shudder from the ice cold. She turned her gaze over. Yuaner, what is the matter? Wu Xinjie asked. It seems there's something watching us. Shi Yuan's heart had a somewhat unclear premonition. She immediately forced a smile. It's probably some vengeful ghost that old tombs always have. This young lady was oversensitive. And let us go for now. Shi Yuan smiled. And, some time after, as the thief star had sensed, not long after they left, a woman with long hair reaching past her but looked at that hidden gate and showed a ruminating smile. Puppet spirit, truly a good thing. Master, shall we make a move now? A voice appeared in her ocean of consciousness. No need. Just let the knowledge star show us the way. Understood. The tall figure hid, suddenly disappearing into the darkness, a tranquility without any waves. After the two of them came together, each of their powers increased greatly. The intertwined branch swords rolled up Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan, and flying for 6 days, they pierced through the 1,000 seas and islets to arrive at the Black Turtle territories far north. Before them were 2 islands. These islands appeared somewhat strange. In Su Xing's perspective, they jutted out like a bra. 14. The islands were pervaded with thick fog, a dead atmosphere. Due to it already being close to the deepest parts of the Black Turtle Sea, there was no sign of anyone here and now. The island was unlike the towns they passed that brimmed with vitality. Hanyan, this place isn't bad to become our immortals' abodes. Su Xing sized the place up. The environment was very quiet, which was suitable for cultivation. The important thing was that these 2 islands had the spiritual power necessary to open an immortal's abode, which made Su Xing's heart delighted. The Black Turtle Territory's islands were numerous, but the ley lines abundant in spiritual influence had long been partitioned away. And, however, we must first clean the place up. Zhao Hanyan smiled. Su Xing felt her smile was increasingly charming. Indeed. Su Xing also smiled and nodded. The pair each sent out bolts of star energy. With a boom, the earth quaked, and the sea waters surged, dispersing the mist. There was a shrill screech. Several dozen half-man, half-fish demon beasts with wings flew out. Besieging them in a circle, they cut off the intruders in the air. Loudly shouting, this perhaps could not count as a blockade. Su Xing and Zhao Hanyan had long already reached maximum charge. Do not use your star generals. Shall we see who can be first to finish cleaning? Zhao Hanyan provocatively glanced at him. Immediately, she controlled her flying swords to attack. A passionate kiss from the loser? Zhao Hanyan rolled her eyes at him. Su Xing did not hesitate either. The first half-snake, half-fish demon beast to appear bore the brunt of his attack. Let alone that their appearances were eerie. Their pouncing speed was abnormally fierce, just like a gust of wind. Furthermore, this half-serpent, half-fish demon beast's assault ignited the bugle horn to attack. The dozen half-serpent, half-fish demon beasts arched their bodies and threw themselves over. Su Xing actually did not fear these guys. The 24 flying swords immediately flew out and attacked in a clump. These half-fish, half-bird, half-serpent demon beasts were killed into pieces, but more and more monsters rushed out. Some broke free of the sword net, pouncing to Su Xing's front. They waved their fish tails, raising a tyrannical strength. Su Xing kicked. His first kick landed on a half-serpent, half-fish demon beast, unexpectedly a bit unable to jolt it. Only when he increased his strength did he barely kick this organism flying. The other 10 at this time also pounced. Su Xing flashed away. His silhouette suddenly paused, and an enormous boom resounded in the air. Immediately, like an explosion, already shooting across the Tenjong of space like a cannonball. While still in midair, Su Xing already spun like a top, countless purple mansion immortal thunders bringing severe whistles as they flew towards these demon beasts. Bang bang bang. The dozen half-bird, half-serpent demon beasts were all sent flying. Stopping, Su Xing surprisingly felt that his star energy had been considerably depleted. These demon beasts are known as fish eagles, very adept at eating star energy. Zhao Hanyan's voice floated over. When Su Xing heard, he aimed and rushed at a half-bird, half-serpent demon beast, crossing over the distance instantly with an escape technique. First of all was a heavy punch, and then there was a series of violent attacks. That half-bird, half-serpent demon beast wretchedly wailed. The next second, Su Xing already arrived before another several fish-eagle beasts. His flying swords became a grinding storm that unstoppably killed them. Finally, he used another purple mansion immortal thunder to destroy them. These fish-eagles very quickly were dashed and scattered, and following their scattering, they fled completely away. You are somewhat slow, Lord Husband. At this time, the long already done cleaning Zhao Hanyan mockingly assessed him. Ladies first, Su Xing chuckled. Zhao Hanyan was speechless. Zhao Hanyan looked at an ancient jadeite tree in front of her. Its branches and leaves were luxuriant, a glistening emerald green. Suspended in the dense leaves was a sparkling fruit. That fruit was completely green, its spiritual power pressing. If someone with a discerning eye saw this fruit, they definitely would be astonished. This Bodhi fruit was the seen once every century and priceless. To Buddhism, it was a treasure second only to Saraira. Zhao Hanyan sighed, not showing any delight at this Bodhi fruit. On the contrary, she was a bit regretful. Using one day's time, Zhao Hanyan opened in the Black Turtle territory, her second purple star outlaw Liangshan Immortal's abode. With a heart full of expectation for the priceless materials that grew within, this Bodhi fruit actually made Zhao Hanyan feel pity. Although the Bodhi fruit was good, only those with the Chan Buddhism would be delighted. To go barter would inevitably involve many twists and turns. Forget it, taking it to the treasure feast for a trade would be pretty good. Zhao Hanyan picked the Bodhi fruit. At this moment, a pair of gentle hands hugged Zhao Hanyan from behind. Caressing the Ling Yan princess back, the hands then entered her clothes. Junqing, don't. Zhao Hanyan moaned. Yet her hands pressed on the hands that were upon her chest. Dong Junqing spoke beside her ear. Princess has opened her second immortal's abode. Would it not be better for us to be intimate here? So that our trip to the Black Turtle territory would not be in vain. As she said this, her hands already covered Zhao Hanyan's towering breasts, rolling the bit of protrusion at the tip between her index and middle fingers. Zhao Hanyan enjoyed this, turning her head back and kissing Dong Junqing. One of Dong Junqing's hands at this time already stretched down into the Ling Yan princess hidden valley. Zhao Hanyan abruptly sobered up. Her hands pushed, and she broke free of Dong Junqing's embrace. Do not, he is still here. Zhao Hanyan's face wore shyness and determination. Dong Junqing was considerably annoyed. Princess Highness, do we still need to mind what he does when we are inside this immortal's abode? Junqing, now that the star duels have already passed through the third phase, we should not continue doing this. Zhao Hanyan seriously said. Dong Junqing's face chilled. Princess Highness, what did that man say to you? This is unrelated to Su Xing. Did nothing actually happen to you too? Dong Junqing grinned evilly. Regardless of if something happened to him and I, Junqing, so long as you know that this princess's heart is clear as a mirror for these star duels, that will do. Zhao Hanyan replied. Your servant shall now go kill him. Dong Junqing lifted the dragon and phoenix yin-yang spear, taking up a stance about to leave the immortal's abode. Zhao Hanyan did not stop her. Her expression was extremely indifferent enough that she did not need to utter a single word to make steadfast Star General of Double Spears Dong Junqing to unwillingly retract her killing intent. Zhao Hanyan softly smiled. She walked over and tenderly caressed Dong Junqing's face. She gently said, if Junqing can set down her prejudice, Su Xing is not so unlikable. Otherwise, how would Wu Song and Lin Chong accompany him? Could it be Princess wishes to gift your servant to be a part of his harem? Dong Junqing mockingly said. Junqing, this princess would certainly hate to do so. Zhao Hanyan kissed her. For that man to have her alone was enough. This instant, Zhao Hanyan ended the kiss. Suddenly, a message was left from the direction of the Azure Dragon territory. The Lingyan princess wrinkled her smoky brow. This princess never thought that it would begin at this time. Is it the Bright Moon Longevity Palace? Dong Junqing was delighted. She truly itched to quickly dispel the contract between Zhao Hanyan and Su Xing. In her perspective, it was precisely this strange thousand-year intertwined branch's secret influence that made Zhao Hanyan become more and more like a married couple with Su Xing. It was truly damnable. No. Zhao Hanyan softly chuckled. However, Empress Wa's divine palace is not bad either. Inside the other of the Bra Islands, Su Xing opened an immortal's abode. The purple star jade pendant was able to link all of the immortal's abodes. By doing so, after Su Xing opened the second immortal's abode in the Black Turtle territory, he could reflect the Azure Dragon territories. The Insuan and Tang Lianxin currently refining medicines and tools inside the immortal's abode since the second immortal's abode, and following the swaying of divine intent, they appeared inside the Black Turtle territory's immortal's abode. Both sides reunited elatedly. Only then did Su Xing go see the precious materials inside the immortal's abode. Compared to the life-extending flat peach of the first time, this fruit open this time was named Purple Immortal Radish, too, which made Su Xing extremely disappointed. This kind of purple immortal radish outwardly appeared beautiful, like a delicate fairy. What was the same as its appearance was that this purple immortal radish was precisely to be given to female cultivators to use. It was of great benefit to yin energy and the like. It's actually suitable to be sent to Zhao Hanyan. Su Xing muttered. Zhao Hanyan had lost her virginity, and just so happened to need this fruit to recover, and this fruit could count as his bit of concern. Just as he was prepared to consider going out, from outside the immortal's abode came Zhao Hanyan's call. Su Xing took a stride and immediately left the immortal's abode. The Zhao Hanyan dressed in simple and elegant purple palace garb was quiet outside the door. Her slender body was elegantly highlighted without match by the silk fabric, which made Su Xing unable to help but recall the absolutely beautiful body covered underneath those clothes. However, how could Su Xing have not known that Zhao Hanyan would suddenly become so willing was not because of the golden opportunity brought by the sealing of the star nests. In the future, perhaps these two would not have this sort of chance to be intimate. Zhao Hanyan glared at Su Xing. This man truly could not conceal anything. The bare desire in his eyes was too direct. Recalling the attacks of that night, the Lingyan princess felt a flow of warmth surge inside her body. This is bad. This princess is a little wet. 3. Have you finished opening your immortal's abode? Zhao Hanyan promptly shifted her own attention. Hanyan, what are you preparing to do next? Su Xing asked her. The Black Turtle territory had many priceless treasures under heaven. The aquatic demon beasts were all a major distinguishing characteristic. Many strange materials often could be found in the Black Turtle territory. Su Xing was preparing to go seek the Zhenwu Divine Iron. This princess has just obtained information from the Azure Dragon territory. The Palace of Empress Wa has already opened, and the 10 great sects are preparing to join hands to go to the Palace of Empress Wa. Su Xing, how about we go together? Zhao Hanyan gracefully smiled. The palace of Empress Hua? Su Xing seemed to have heard Wu Xinjie once mention this was one of the legendary 7 great ancient tombs. In every generation of star duels, there were also countless ruins outside of the 5 great phases. Most of these ruins required a star general's star crest in order to enter. These ruins and ancient tombs similarly also were a way for star generals to increase their strength. Some ruins and tombs even had rare books and the like that survived from ancient time. For this reason, the sects would all painstakingly accumulate contracted star generals in order to be able to depend on star master status to get a share of the rewards. At that time, amazing the world with a single feat was not too impossible. With you and I together, we naturally will have achievements. Zhao Hanyan slightly smiled. Su Xing muttered under his breath, not at all the happy answer that Zhao Hanyan had imagined. What could it be you will not go? Zhao Hanyan asked. The 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua, you ought to know, do you not? This is but able to instantly advance cultivation. The palace of Empress Hua just happens to have this item. Su Xing was very vexed. The 1,000-year tears of Empress Hua, huh? 1 drop can greatly advance cultivation. This sort of item can only be encountered, not requested. He naturally very much wanted to go to this legendary ruin. With the palace of Empress Hua opened, not going this time meant there would be no opportunity next time, but time was too excessively pressing right now. To go from this place to the Black Turtle Sea needed several days, which was not enough to go back and forth. Whether or not Su Xing was moved by the palace of Empress Hua, to refine the earth element flying sword was the major concern. The earth element flying sword was the master of defense. To face the overbearing Maiden Mountain, Su Xing first of all needed to protect his own safety in order to be able to make the beauties at ease. Otherwise, even if they were any more powerful, if he could not stand on his own, then he was a burden. Sorry Hanyan. I came to the Black Turtle territory with urgent matters. I really have no way to free myself. Su Xing said with regret. Zhao Hanyan furrowed her brows. There was some disappointment in her eyes, however. From the very beginning when she found out Su Xing was pressed for time, she was not as angry as when she was refused the last time. Then there is no helping it. Master, allow slave servant to go. The indifferent Yan Yizhen suddenly offered her services like Mao Sui. Huh. Both of them were taken aback. The sisters are all working their hardest for master. Slave servant also wishes to do something for master. Yan Yizhen earnestly said. Yan Yizhen's decisive and deeply concerned expression made Su Xing honestly have not grounds to refuse. All right. Hanyan, how do you feel about this? Although she could not be together with Su Xing, Zhao Hanyan did not decline. You truly are fortunate to have found such a good star general. Suwen will also go together with elder sister Little E. And Suwen also volunteered. Another person against the 10 great sects for the palace of Empress, while always was another boost in strength. Su Xing nodded. Gongsun Sheng, master shall be left to you. Yan Yizhen looked to Gongsun Huang. The little lowly blinked her eyes, gently nodding. Have you met with trouble? Zhao Hanyan wrinkled her brow, herself unable to sense the worry in her tone. Nothing troublesome. Right, Hanyan, I'll give this purple immortal radish to you to supplement your body. Su Xing suggestively winked and brought out the purple immortal radish. You shall gift it to this princess? Zhao Hanyan said in shock. Although Su Xing could not use this purple immortal radish, its value was extremely high. Not only could it allow a female cultivator to advance her yin energy cultivation, it could also maintain an eternally youthful appearance. It could not be bought with any amount of money. At the treasure feast, it definitely could elicit the frantic shrieks of female cultivators. She never expected that Su Xing would so generously gift it to her. Any way you put it, you are my woman, just treat it as a body supplement. 5. Su Xing surreptitiously used sound transmission. Red clouds flew across Zhao Hanyan's face. Glancing at him with every sort of flirtatious and amorous expression, she extended a hand to take this purple immortal radish. Even if she had given her virginity to him, as if the Ling Yan princess would ever be courteous. Humph, this princess does not wish to owe you. You can take this Bodhi fruit. Speaking of this, the Bodhi fruit fell into Su Xing's hand. Su Xing had trained with the 5 dragons colored glass lantern ability, and the Bodhi fruit was perfectly a great benefit. The two exchanged words for a bit, and then Yin Yizhen and Ensuan entered Zhao Hanyan's immortal's abode. The sea was vast. Hearing the sound of waves crashing, the space between the sea and the sky was incomparably wide, boundlessly vacant, making Su Xing's heart suddenly feel a bit of loneliness. Gongsun Huang sat on Su Xing's shoulder, but both her hands hugged Su Xing's head silently. Elder brother, the sisters definitely will be unharmed. Tang Lianxin consoled him. Su Xing smiled and nodded. He naturally understood that temporary separation was always better than a lifetime of separation. Lianxin, you will actually be lonely by yourself in the immortal's abode. Su Xing tenderly said. Tang Lianxin showed a not-too-practiced smile, slightly shaking her head. Now that the reclusive earthly solitary star had Su Xing's companionship, she already did not dare make any more extravagant demands. Now that things have come to this, elder brother had better not tarry any further. Understood. Su Xing said to Gongsun Huang. Little Huang, big brother has something he wants to trouble you with. Your Highness, please speak. Gongsun Huang blinked. Can you go help me look for a spring breeze drunken rain pavilion to bring by Yutong here? I've always been not too at ease. Su Xing smiled. Does your Highness not need little Huang's protection? Gongsun Huang spoke softly. Of course that isn't it. However, I can still cope with going to the Black Turtle Sea, so something as important as Bai Yutong shall be left to you, my beloved little Huang. Su Xing gently pinched her cheeks. Little Huang pondered for a moment, and then nodded. Clasping Su Xing's face, she gently kissed him, and then her body soared up, light as a feather. Her indifferent expression seemed to say, Be careful, your Highness. Then, dragon in the clouds, Gongsun Huang hid into the sea of clouds, already disappearing into the horizon. As if he was dreaming of the 9-star generals at Su Xing's side. Only Tang Lianxin was left. Elder brother. There's no need to worry. I'm going to the Black Turtle Sea now. Lianxin, you be careful yourself. Su Xing instructed. Elder brother as well. Tang Lianxin gave him a deep kiss full of tender feelings. The white clouds in the sky piled like snow. The island's cliffs towered in disorder. Suddenly, a sharp, air-breaking sound threaded through the sea of clouds, a screaming rumble. 2 beautiful figures fell from the sky like cannonballs, heavily smashing against the jagged cliffs, forming a giant hole. The smoke and dust cleared, and from the hole appeared 2 young women. One wore a tiger-patterned corset, and the other wore a blue shirt and short skirt. Ing. The beautiful girl in blue anxiously shouted, lending an arm to support the girl in the tiger-striped long gown and corset. That girl's stature was exquisite and also cute, however. That blue-clothed woman's build was wonderful and fine. At first glance the two were actually somewhat oddly intimate. Inger vomited blood. The blue-clothed girl shouted. Quickly stop the pain. Quickly flee. The exquisite girl said with difficulty. Pushing with one hand gripped a soul-chasing life-taking spear. She was the minute star Stumpy Tiger Wang Ying. 2 true name Wang Ying. 3 thinking of escaping? A disdainful laugh fell from the sky. A Guanghan red hair steered a cloud of frost down. On the horse sat a mighty girl, with golden armor and long ribbons. In her hand was a purple brilliant moon-slashing blade. Great Saint Starkiller laughed out loud. The heavenly cycle-changing holy swords hung in the air, the cold light like iron. Worthy of being called Maiden Mountain's most absolute beautiful star general, through the successive generations. Even when you are heavily injured to this degree, you still are capable of causing the downfall of a city. Even I cannot help but fall in love at first sight. Great Saint Starkiller praised the beauty of the blue-clothed woman that captivated all manner of living beings. The 2 girls had grave expressions. Now that the 3rd phase has passed, you earthly stars had better quickly return to Maiden Mountain. The things to come after do not require your participation. Great Saint Starkiller sneered. Roar. Stumpy Tiger Wang Ying was like a hissing tiger. Her star beast, the sea's mountain for King Beast, charged towards Great Saint Starkiller. The Guanghan red hare intercepted at the front, its hooves hovering in the sky. The chill of frost and ice forced the sea's mountain for king beast to withdraw. Guaning slashed, cutting down this star beast. The blue-clothed girl suddenly erupted, her figure scattering, dispersing like water and smoke, her speed abnormally quick. A pair of sabers appeared in her hands, and with a leap, she attacked Great Saint Starkiller. Bang! Guangying's purple brilliant moon-slashing blade blocked. The 4-star destined weapon of fighting fame easily slashed back the girl. Ing, do not waste time. Kill them. Great Saint Starkiller issued his orders. Brave Star Guaning spurred her horse. Just the Guanghan red hare's freezing aggression made the color drain from stumpy tiger Wang Ying's face. Facing the great blade, chief of the 5 tigers, the Minute Star unexpectedly did not retreat. Nyangzi, 5 quickly escape. Both of Wang Ying's hands clenched her spear. Star energy gathered from across her whole body, and the star crest on her forehead flashed. Guansheng watched this. Wang Ying leapt high, just like a fierce tiger descending a mountain. The soul-chasing life-taking spear shadows covered in layers. Dark rank, love color like life. 6 Guaning slightly hesitated. In that transient moment, her hand rose and the halberd fell. The purple brilliant moon-slashing blade incomparably tore apart the spear images tyrannically. Stumpy tiger Wang Ying screamed as she was cut down by the blade. Just at this moment, the purple brilliant moon-slashing blade abruptly burst forth with black chi. It passed through the girl, tearing her to shreds, like a plague of 10,000 ghosts. A heart-rending scream fell incessantly into the ear, a scene appearing extremely terrifying. Guanying's excited smile changed. She wanted to withdraw the great blade, but how could she have anticipated that Wang Ying's hands would seize the great blade? Even when this pain was so unbearable, she still turned her head back and shouted with difficulty. Nyangzi, quickly escape! Ing. The blue-clothed girl was grief-stricken. Quickly run. Wang Ying condensed all of the pain into a final shout. The blue-clothed girl raised her double sabers and slashed. Great Saint Starkiller sneered. The feelings between you sisters is actually deep. Would it not be happier for you to return to Maiden Mountain together? The heavenly cycle-changing holy sword chi was like silk, slashing over. In the end, Wang Ying's expression did not despair, not was it angry. There was only a sort of deep concern. The young girl seemed to have heard the voice of her heart. Live. Live. She needed to live to take revenge. The minute Star's star fell down. The blue-clothed girl's eyes furiously burned. A jade pendant flashed, and the young girl's body disappeared like smoke. Thinking of running, Inger, kill her. Great Saint Starkiller shouted. Guaning tightly clenched her great blade, looking incredulously at the dark afterglow of her weapon, at the burning flames deeper than darkness. She seemingly could hear the grudge of her sister inside the weapon. All of the resentment enveloped the weapon, and a powerful force made her nearly incapable of control. What is this? What the hell is this? Guanying's complexion lost all of its color. Guansheng. A furious roar shook Great Blade Guaning from her shuddering. Guaning raised her head and spotted the hateful expression of the sister before her. Guanshan. I, Husanyang, swear that this is not over. Her figure dispersed, and the girl immediately disappeared. Guanying's eyes were like ice, without any feeling. Great Saint Starkiller was disdainful. The barks of a defeated dog, she dares to boast. You think you can run from the Black Turtle territory, but the Devil Star Palace naturally will find you and sacrifice you. Master, why did you do this? Guaning shouted, her voice like a thunder roll. Great Saint Starkiller's brows wrinkled, and he sternly yelled. You ought to wake a bit from that illusion of honor, Guaning. The star duels have nothing to do with good and evil. They are only life and death, you must understand. Even now, your heart still retains compassion. Could it be you wish to repeat a disastrous course of action again? Her knuckles turned white from gripping her weapon so tightly. Guanying's gaze suddenly made Great Saint Starkiller's heart give rise to a sort of unprecedented chill. He made a rare step back. No need to be afraid, since you contracted her. She cannot possibly betray you. Even if she was not thinking of doing this, you can compel her by command. Great Saint Starkiller reassured himself. His tone warmed a bit. You and I share everything together in fortune and misfortune. Could it be, Guaning, that you do not want to raise again the true fighting fame of the chief of the 5 tigers? How many despicable characters were there in the previous star duels that nevertheless have even greater glory than yours, Guansheng? Could it be because their strength is more powerful than yours? But this general disdains using this sort of thing. Do you have anything meaningful to say? If it was not for you being defeated by Wu Song, how could we have ever fallen to such a state? Alas, this great saint does not wish to see you in pain, Ing. Great Saint Starkiller sighed in distress, unknown how much of the distress and helplessness shown in his eyes was real, and how much was false. Guaning was silent. Seeing that she had been soothed, Great Saint Starkiller once again said, For the sake of victory, you must make sacrifices. This is what you originally said to your servant, Inger. Now what does this tiny, insignificant sacrifice amount to? First, properly refine this devil star. I will have all the people in the palace go capture Husanyang. An earthly star for heavenly king. She cannot run too far. Several days afterwards, a figure clad in a black cloak stood on one of Lone Dragon Mound, 7 gazing into the distance. Below was an uneven wasteland and a large river cutting across. Further away, figures could be seen fighting on the river. Concentrating for a moment, the black-cloaked person nodded. Suddenly turning their head to look, the figure then flashed down the mountain. Su Xing felt himself truly unfortunate. Leaving the immortal's abode, he used several days' time to go to the Black Turtle Sea, the end result of which was that the paths to this Black Turtle territory's sea crisscrossed. The islands were countless, and he unexpectedly lost his way. Asking several villagers from the islands, no one knew the way. Su Xing currently was inwardly angry. He heard that he could hear all sorts of information at Lone Dragon Mound. Asking around, he did not find anything. On the contrary, he had drawn trouble over first. The alligator dragon sea-swallowing claws of the young girl clad in a sleeveless blue long robe were dexterous claws. Upon the seas, she was more nimble than a fish. Watching her claws dance, the ground immediately surged with bursts of water pillars shooting into the sky. Quickly surrender before Pinger. 8. The corner of the girl's lips curled. Her short pink hair was tied into 2 small ponytails. The flowing sea hung, and those eyes carried a hurry and surrender meaning. Su Xing inwardly wrinkled his brow, flipped open the treasure book and looked. Star position, Guilt Star, 9 star name. Wan Xiaowu 10 nickname. Short-lived second brother 11 true name. Wan Ping 12 rank. 29th star weapon. Alligator dragon sea swallowing claws 13, 2 star, star beast. Ancient dragon alligator 14 realm. 10,000 techniques 7th stage innate skill. Water control 5 elements. Water yellow rank special move. Dragon King break dark rank special move. Water flooding Dragon King temple current status. No contractor can be conquered. Detailed materials. Guilt Star Wan Xiaowu. Su Xing gasped. The star generals of this Black Turtle territory honestly were numerous. He did not expect to see her. A naval star general was a ferocious character, and she had not signed a contract. If this was in the past, Su Xing would have had interest to flirt a bit, but how could he have this fiery sentiment at this time? Wan Pinger, what are you doing? Su Xing continuously dodged the rocketing water pillars. If he was stained, the consequences could not be imagined. The birth treasure outline? Wah, you have lots of capital. Are you a star master? Where is your star general? Her evil grin increasingly blossomed. Guilt Star Wan Pinger's current manner looked as if she had spotted prey. It would be better to capture and bring you back to my watery den. I do not have time to play with you. Su Xing felt he truly was foolish enough to unexpectedly still have the mood to play at this time. Could it be that he still clung on to the idea of signing a contract? Su Xing's divine intent rose. 24 flying swords appeared from thin air. They cut down the water pillars altogether. A rushing escape light charged the Guilt Star. Wouldn't it be better for you to first become your servant's mistress? Su Xing could not help taking liberties with her. Suddenly, he recalled that the depth of the Black Turtle Sea was millions of li deep, very dangerous. If there was this sort of water general, How could he not be a fish back in water, to have double the success with half the effort? If you have the ability, then come get me. Let us see just who will fall first. Ruan Pinger's expression was extremely delicate and pretty, but she looked like a weird uncle. Seeing Su Xing was supercluster early stage, Ruan Pinger sensed that Su Xing was a star master. The so-called star masters were not all star cultivators that had contracted star generals. Some only became star cultivators after the star duels began. These sorts of star cultivators could also sign contracts with star generals, and they were also called descended stars. 16. Anyway, it was put, supercluster early stage cultivation was stunning. Ruan Pinger originally thought to force Su Xing to bring out his star general, but it appeared that Su Xing did not have a star general. Could it be this man had not contracted a star general? This surprising discovery made Ruan Pinger wildly give birth to wicked thoughts. Her heart had the impulse to first capture him and bring him back for the elder and little sisters to look at. It was honestly too pitiful for this sort of star master to not contract. If the elder and little sisters did not like him, at that time, she could nearly have one less disaster. Precisely harboring this goal, the gilt star then became braver the more she fought. The alligator dragon sea swallowing claw slashed, and a water pillar rolled up, becoming a water dragon that extended across the girl's whole body. That scene was extremely beautiful. Dragon King break. Ruan Pinger grinned evilly. That wide and large water dragon locked onto Su Xing and pounced. The flying sword simultaneously slashed, yet cutting water was completely useless. Return. Su Xing struck a hand seal, his flying swords forming a sword shield that unfolded and blocked before him. The water dragon slammed against it. The dragon's powerful strength jolted the life-cast flying swords into groaning, feeling quite unwell alongside Su Xing's own body. Gilt Star's short-lived second brother Ruan Xiao grinned evilly. The alligator dragon sea swallowing claws once again brandished water dragons, a function of her water control innate skill. Ruan Pinger played with the flow of the river in the palm of her hand. To Su Xing, this did not constitute a threat, yet it could waste his star energy. A star master like yourself, elder sister will like. Ruan Pinger cruelly grinned. The river made Su Xing trapped on all sides, putting him in a somewhat impossible situation. His opponent was a top-notch naval magic energy heavenly star, and this place was her home turf. For a time, Su Xing was at wit's end attempting to capture Ruan Pinger to be a mistress. Ruan Pinger was currently deluding herself about how to entertain this feast for the eyes, when suddenly, she felt a chilly wind come from behind her. The short-lived second brother glanced out the corner of her eye and spotted a figure in a black cloak currently moving towards her in a high-speed attack. That speed was very quick. A scorching baleful aura gravely arrived before her. Ruan Pinger's claws went to block. Cold light crisscrossed, moving back and forth. The black-clothed person was nimble beyond imagination. Ruan Pinger caught the smell of danger and familiarity. A star general? A soft bellow broke free from the cloaked person's lips. Ruan Pinger saw a pair of golden pupils raise a storm. The black-cloaked star general charged for the kill on Ruan Pinger in a spurt of energy. Ruan Pinger's claws warded off the blow. Countless water blades slashed in an exchange. Ruan Pinger suddenly discovered the star general in front of her was very weak. Although her speed and agility were somewhat surprising, her attack power was mediocre. Ruan Pinger completely could hold her own, so much so that she could use star magic to be even more sure of victory. I can kill her? As expected, you have a star general. Short-lived second brother Ruan Pinger evilly laughed. It would be better to yield to me. The dull gold light slashed, blocked by the long already prepared alligator dragon sea swallowing claws, but Ruan Pinger was not at all relaxed at this time. She did not know whether or not her provocation had aroused her opponent's desire for battle, for the cloaked star general made several fierce chops in succession. The gold light and water light clashed restlessly. Another short blade suddenly attacked from another angle. Ruan Pinger intercepted it. The opponent's fierce and explosive oppression made Ruan Pinger continuously step back. Double sabers and double claws ferociously slashed at each other, the crisp shockwaves linking together into one. Wan Pinger let out an evil laugh that feigned relaxation, but her expression betrayed her disguise. Her opponent's attacks were increasingly fierce, increasingly emotional. Wan Pinger already was somewhat unable to bear with it. Heavenly Star Marshal General? A water wall revolved around. What are you doing not showing yourself? Could it be you are very ugly? Wan Pinger asked as she retreated. The cloaked Star General's double sabers easily ripped apart the water screen. Her figure was mist-like, her body techniques somewhat unfathomable. The double sabers crisscrossed and stabbed, freezing Guilt Star short-lived second brother's evil grin. The blade's tip directly stabbed into her lung. Wan Pinger's expression changed, pulling out the blade's tip with great difficulty. Her star magic escaped, and she unexpectedly dove into the ocean depths. Water-flooding Dragon King Temple. Wan Pinger was abruptly angry. The island quaked, and a turbulent flood soared into the sky, engulfing the entire island. The cloaked Star General did not hesitate at all to rush towards Su Xing. Su Xing was currently spectating the drama. The pair's surprising battle made him leak cold sweat. Originally, he had wanted to help Wan Pinger, however, for he who had only just fought about to go help honestly was finding trouble. Su Xing just waited for his chance to be the hero that rescued the beauty. Doing so would resolve the misunderstanding between them, and going with her to the Black Turtle Sea would be more convenient. That cloaked mysterious person was strong. Although it appeared her strength was less than desirable, carrying a trace of weakness, her double saber arts, flaring aura of death and dreamlike dance steps made Su Xing, an expert in battle against star generals, immediately discern that the martial arts of the person before him were considerably formidable. Wan Pinger was perhaps misfortunate against this. Not outside of expectations, Wan Pinger's advantage was not maintained for long. She was beat back, and just when Su Xing thought of being the hero that rescued the beauty, he suddenly saw first the Guilt Star short-lived second brother unexpectedly use her dark rank star magic. The island sunk, and the flood swallowed the sky. Countless sea dragons fell over each other in a terrifying surge. That aggression was incomparably terrifying. Just as Su Xing wanted to ride a flying sword to escape, the cloaked person all of a sudden surprisingly rushed over. You came at the perfect time. Su Xing grunted and slashed with a flying sword. The opponent paused and was wounded by the sword chi. What made Su Xing surprised was that the newcomer did not react. She was neither angry nor did she make any other expression. A soft arm extended, contrarily full of kindly intentions. Su Xing was taken aback, and then he grabbed hold. Come with this, wife. A somewhat tender voice called out. The counterpart pulled Su Xing and skyrocketed. The countless water dragons ceaselessly eroded Lone Dragon Mount. This girl's body techniques were extremely agile, like a butterfly flitting through flowers. Each and every time she dodged, if it were Su Xing, he would unavoidably have to squander much energy in order to resist. How could he ever be as fairy-like as she? Star General? As if they were high in the clouds, in the blink of an eye, the young girl brought Su Xing to an even higher mountain. Looking back to Lone Dragon Mound, the big island had already been swallowed and submerged by the sea dragons. So violent. Su Xing shuddered. I will not let you go. Wan Pinger ground her teeth in denial. She jumped into the ocean depths, escaping far away. Only when her presence completely disappeared did the young girl finally retract her chilliness. Up until now, Su Xing still did not understand just what the hell was going on. Why did it seem like the two of them were fighting over him? You are? Su Xing asked. His counterpart extended a hand and waved. The cloak was peeled away, and if what Su Xing expected was a beauty, what he did not expect was an absolute beauty. The girl's body was dressed in an ocean blue. Her top only wore a bodice, revealing her underbelly and navel. Her bamboo shoot-shaped two breasts were very plump, and he could vaguely glimpse a very deep cleavage. The water blue shoulder pads were lined with red pearls, and her lower body wore a skirt armored in the front and was longer in the back. The corners of her skirt had silk weaving, as if they were aquatic grasses gently waving, which made the girl appear considerably alluring. Her legs were slender and fair, and transparent boots extended up to her thighs. The attire bluer than the sea that was over her whole body highlighted the girl's wonderful curves, as if she was a mermaid who had emerged from the sea, full of a dreamy sensation. Her beautiful long hair extended like a waterfall. The young girl's pupils were an amber gold. Like caged smoke, it was unclear what was real and what was false. Her dull cherry lips, her absolutely beautiful mien, skin that surpasses snow made Su Xing unable to help but exclaim in admiration. "Are you a man or not?" Her voice was the sound of nature. The young girl's expression was very cold, yet also somewhat irascible. "Of course I am, one who can support heaven and earth." Su Xing patted his chest. "If you are a man, then you will never cower, correct?" Su Xing could hear her somewhat odd tone. The girl was slightly deep as the sea, but he still nodded. He had never been one to cower. "Very good." The woman attentively gazed at Su Xing, her long eyebrows considerably arousing. What was this little beauty thinking of doing? Su Xing did not dare be careless, inwardly on guard. The young girl walked close to him. Suddenly, her hands clasped Su Xing's cheeks. She stood on tiptoe and kissed Su Xing's lips. The girl's soft lips immediately transmitted a feeling warmer than water. Su Xing's whole body seemed to be enveloped in seawater. His blood boiled, and his head suddenly ached, as if there was a blade carving upon it. "Huh. This is..." Su Xing's heart was greatly astonished. Nevertheless, his lips were being tyrannically deep-kissed by the girl. Su Xing instinctively wanted to push her away, when suddenly, he glanced a tear of grief leak from the corner of the girl's eye, stirring his heart. The star crest on the girl's forehead flashed with a blue light. Su Xing immediately sensed that his ocean of consciousness again increased in size, gaining another star nest. They had signed a star dual covenant. The kiss ended. A shade of red appeared on the girl's pale cheeks. Following their contract, both sides were reborn. Su Xing had yet to return to his senses. Su Xing contracting 8 star generals was unprecedented since ancient times in Liangshan continent. Perhaps no one could be more familiar with the sensation of signing a star dual covenant than Su Xing was. But even so, the first encounter with such a powerful kiss made the Su Xing who signed the contract completely stupefied. He had never thought about this sort of situation before. He did not even know what star general this girl even was. "Who are you?" Su Xing moistened his lips and organized his thoughts. He was just attacked by the guilt star just now. He had even wanted to develop a relationship with guilt star Ruan Xiaowu to go to the Black Turtle Sea. And then he formed a contract with the ocean blue illusory girl in front of him? What third-rate director directed this third-rate act of a third-rate play? A plot twist? The climax? The world-shaking pledge? There was a total lack of it all. Just signing a contract like this, Su Xing felt this was very unreal. "You can just call me Nyangzi." 3. The girl's voice was not warm at all. But these words were spoken so ecstatically. Nyangzi. Calling herself wife at first sight? This really was a fourth-rate script. She honestly was brazen, Su Xing secretly observed. "Your name?" The young girl's tone was harsh. "Your servant is Su Xing. You can call me dear husband." Su Xing scratched his head. The other side had made him address her as wife. Any way it was put, he had to reciprocate for propriety, to show good faith. To marry first and then cultivate feeling was also quite fresh. "Dear husband." The girl was taken aback. A drunken red flew across her face. She stared at Su Xing and indignantly said, "Since you would like for me to call you dear husband, then I shall call you dear husband." "Hey, why is it I like?" "It was obviously you yourself that first made the request, right?" The Su Xing, who was slightly treated as a shameless pervert, was very bewildered. "What star general are you?" Su Xing merely treated this wife as foul-mouthed but upstanding. "This lady is the 59th ranked bright star 10 feet of blue Husanyang." The girl voluntarily introduced herself, turning around. "Husanyang? A star general of Maiden Mountain's earthly star 4 heavenly kings?" Su Xing's heart was jolted. The beautiful female general of the water margin. This made Su Xing feel like wringing his wrists and sigh that this beauty had been defiled by Wang Ying. Su Xing flipped out the birth treasure outline, and the golden light glowed. Star position, bright star 5 star name, Husanyang 6 nickname, 10 feet of blue 7 true name, Hunyangzi 8 rank, 59th star weapon. Golden Wind and Morning Dew Double Sabers 3 star. / These feelings are endless lasso, not yet manifested. 9 star beast. Blood Sweat Silver Hair Horse 10 realm. 10,000 techniques 8th stage and 8 skill. Light Smoke Dance Steps 11 5 elements. Water Yellow rank special move. Hate Transmission 12 dark rank special move. Flying Star. Magpie Dance 13 current status. Suxing contractor. Detailed materials. True name Hunyangzi. Suxing gasped. Your true name is Hunyangzi? The bright star turned her head, showing a "is there a problem" expression. Suxing grumbled and shook his head. Fuck, her true name is Hunyangzi. Then I was truly showering her with unwanted affection just now. However, seeing that Hunyangzi did not oppose, Suxing would make the best after this mistake. Suxing had a question he was dying to ask. This wife knows what you wish to ask. I signed a contract with you because I saw your cultivation. A supercluster stage star master without a star general would inevitably tempt many uncontracted star maidens, but Hu Sanyang nevertheless was not motivated by this. She wanted revenge, to find an exact revenge on Guansheng, but relying on herself alone, she absolutely could not win against Great Saint Starkiller and Great Blade Guansheng. Because of this, she needed to find a powerful star master. So when she spotted Suxing with supercluster, and without a star general in accompaniment, 10 feet of blue, Hunyangzi did not hesitate at all to snatch him from the Gilt Star's hands. As for the kiss contract, Hunyangzi wanted to make each of their star energies become even more powerful. So long as she could kill Guansheng, whatever the price, she would pay it, let alone this kiss contract. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.